What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. It is Monday, October 18th, and we are recapping Week 6 of the NFL season. Joining me to do so, just one super friend, not two super friends. One right now. We're live on YouTube, by the way, and you can subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/pick6. If you're this is something I learned in the last week. So if you're a YouTube subscriber and you're watching right now, that means you probably like us. So throw your boys a bone here and hit the alarm button near the subscribe button. Apparently, YouTube, you have to opt into alerts, but that'll help us, for whatever reason. Also, while you're down there messing around with your hands, like Urban Meyer, press the like button and tell John Breech how much you love him. What's up, Breech?
I'm doing good. I'll be doing better if everybody hits those like buttons. And, everybody doesn't know why Wilson's here. He's out celebrating that crazy Steelers win that we'll talk about later.
Oh, baby, look at that. Just got a YouTube alert for the Pick Six Podcast.
That was actually just me liking our YouTube.
No, I got an alert. It says watch live now, Pick Six Podcast, Week 6 NFL full recap.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
I got mine too. What? All right. You can get one too, everyone.
Oh, look at that. Breach's alert turned on.
It's right there.
Everybody turn your alerts on and help us out. Ryan Wilson will be here shortly. Look, I would complain that Wilson is taking too long to get. That's actually pornography, Breech. I would complain that, and you can see all these shenanigans on YouTube, youtube.com/pick6. I would complain that Wilson is slow to get here, but he's being pushed back because our boy Joe Musso is talking to our other boy David Sampson about the Atlanta Braves going up 2-0 on the Dodgers. I won't do the chop, but I'll say let's go Braves. To the football, we will get to the Steelers and Sunday Night Football later once Wilson comes on. Instead, why don't we talk about, because there weren't many crazy games this week, Breech. It was very chalky and boring, as you and I noted on the Early Odds Look Ahead podcast, which you can find in the feed and again on the YouTube. There was a sportsbook director of the Golden Nuggets said, "This is the type of day I want to lock myself in my office with a full bottle of Knob Creek." Meaning, woe is me. The casino, the sports books got slaughtered. How will you survive, right?
Yeah, I always thought that was a weird way to say it because, I always want to be walked in a room with Knob Creek, and that's not a bad thing. But I know what they mean. That the sports books lost big today because the favorites rolled, and it was crazy how. Like you said, there weren't a lot of barn burners. There wasn't a ton of excitement, except there was one great game in every window, starting in London and going straight through Sunday night. That was it. We got one good game per window, but when you only have one game in the window,
was it Panthers-Vikings? Was the 1 p.m.?
Yeah.
And then obviously Cowboys-Steelers.
Cowboys-Patriots.
Cowboys-Patriots, excuse me. Steelers-Seahawks in the night game. And then Jets-Jaguars might have been the best game of the day in a gross way. It is actually a perfect bookend. We got Jets-Jaguars, which was
Dolphins.
Hey, Ryan Wilson.
Dolphins.
Hey, why do you say Jets-Jaguars?
I don't know. You said it twice.
No, I'm not.
Brinson's already cut off. We're only 30 seconds in the podcast.
I'm like perfectly sober. I don't know why I'm saying Jets-Jaguars. Maybe it's because I thought that we sent the two worst teams to London. Dolphins-Jaguars, excuse me. So Dolphins
the Jets won last week
was the morning game, and then Steelers-Seahawks, the evening game, was just as putrid, but exciting in a weird way. So I guess do you want to dive right into Steelers-Seahawks since Wilson's here? Hi, Ryan.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hi, Ryan.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Well, you ignored me, but I didn't know if that was just normal ignoring or you just couldn't hear me.
What's suit bag? What's going on back there?
Yeah, so
multiple mics in the shot and
so this is David Sampson's mic. He's here for 14 days, I think, to cover the playoffs in the World Series. And Stryker, the producer, told him to set up in the podcast studio because Stryker doesn't think I'm important. So Sampson, to his credit, was very apologetic because he had no idea. So he actually, I just moved a couple things aside and we're ready to go.
Cool. Right,
and Sampson is like, the Natural and the Wonder Boy bat. That's Sampson with his mic. He handmade his own mic and he takes it everywhere.
He's got 3 ring lights.
That's what Wilson's using right now.
He's got 3 ring lights. He's got a setup. And by the way, Brinson and Debo, you can talk to Debo this. I walk into this is just a general podcast studio here at the Stanford offices. Here's what I see: a notepad with nothing personal. I mean, look at that, right?
What?
So,
speaking of which, Speaking of cool podcast swag that no other podcast has, if this YouTube video gets to 100 likes, it's 12:30 in the morning. So, I mean, maybe it happens. Maybe it doesn't. Who the hell knows? If it gets to 100 likes on YouTube, we will give away a Brinson Sucks hat. We're not doing it until we get to 100 likes. And by the way, Wilson's best bet. It lost. So no football yet, right?
What was best bet?
Oh, no,
We're not there yet.
Debo said it lost. He won.
No, it lost.
What was it? I don't remember.
I remember, but we're not spoiling it. We'll wait till we get to that game.
All right, we'll get to that game. Yeah. Fair enough.
You also go to the CBSSports.com store and buy Pick Six swag. Anyway, let's get moving because we're 5 minutes into this podcast. We have to, you know what? We have a lot of buys this week at least. So,
yeah, let's still get moving.
Yeah, let's get still.
Let's start with Sunday night where the Steelers defeated the Seahawks. Steelers moved to 2-3. Seahawks fall to 2-3. 23-20 in overtime. Where's your head at in this, Wilson? Because I don't know. I mean, like you're watching the first half was, by the way, I was winning $40,000 at halftime of this game on DraftKings.
Every week it's the same story. And
I won $30, so that was exciting.
So I am mad at you more so than Breech, but Breech also is included in this because you buttholes talked me out of. I was the only CBS Sport expert taking the Steelers at taking the Seahawks at +4.5, and you numbnuts are like, oh, this is a lock. And I said, the Steelers are not good in these games.
Wilson, you're 30 games over.
I know
the spread. Why would you listen to us? We're buffoons.
Because I'm an idiot. That's exactly right. So that's what I was thinking most of the game. Because even at halftime, 14-0 Steelers are up. I'm thinking this isn't going to.
It felt pretty over at halftime.
Again, I've seen this movie a lot, and it ends the exact same way. And I'll say this: I don't know what the Steelers did at halftime, but I understand what the Seahawks did. They said, Alex Collins, get ready to run the ball, and that's all he did. And the Steelers said, we're not going to tackle you until the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. Roethlisberger, we were talking about this, and this is not even a joke. Me and Jonathan Jones and Eric Casillas, and like, aside from Geno Smith, is there any quarterback you would not take over Big Ben?
Would you definitely take Big Ben over Geno?
Yes, but after that, like Davis Mills, I'm taking Davis Mills.
I think Mike Glennon over Geno. I mean, over Big Ben.
Starting quarterbacks, not people.
Oh, starting quarterbacks. Sorry,
not people that you've offended and now since tried to befriend.
The point being is. I don't think I've offended Mike. At any point, what I'm saying is that Big Ben, what was the best pass Big Ben threw to? Like, not
the pass that was ruled a fumble later. That was his best throw of the night.
That's probably right. I mean, he I need to look at his next gen stat thing. There was one pass where it's like they hiked the ball and he just lobbed it over the line of scrimmage.
You know what that pass reminded? I think it was to Chase Claypool on like a 3rd down and 2. It reminded me of the clip that went around last year of the worst play in football from like the 1920s or whatever.
Oh my God! Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
That was that play, and I said that's the play they dusted off for Big Ben. He is done. He's the worst quarterback in the division, and I'm including Baker Mayfield with only having one shoulder. And again, I defy you to find someone, and maybe you guys would take Geno Smith, but name a quarterback like Jared Goff all day long. Name a quarterback that you are not taking. And by the way, midway through the third quarter, I was pleading for Mason Rudolph to come into the game. That's where I'm at in terms of this.
Next Gen Stats has not uploaded Big Ben's chart yet. Probably out of mercy.
No, they're laughing. Like they're all rolling around the floor. They haven't gotten up yet.
I mean, what do you think the deepest pass he threw was? 12 yards?
He had a completion to Deontay Johnson that may have been a little more than that, but and those are air yards, but some of his overthrows and passes beyond 15 yards were embarrassing.
And then the one to Johnson late, I think in the mid to late third quarter where Chris Collinsworth, Deontay Johnson's got to make that, Mike. He's got to get back and get that. It's like he threw it 6 yards.
That's like saying that's the best throw Deontay's going to see all night, and you have to catch it because it's not getting better.
That's like saying to a catcher, you got to catch the pop fly right over your head going to the stands. Like you got to make that play because that's sort of how you feel if you're Deontay Johnson. You're running after the ball, coming back to the line of scrimmage. There's a 50-50 chance it even gets to you. And yeah, I guess you could have made the play. Here's an idea. Throw it to him. He was wide open.
40 passing attempts in a game they led 14-0 at halftime. And
I think he was 12 for 18 at the half, if I recall correctly.
And they said Najee Harris is a beast, by the way.
Yeah, he's having to do it by himself.
Yeah, he is dragging the Steelers team as far as they are willing to go. I don't know I mean, would you rather be the Seahawks or the Steelers right now?
Oh, the Steelers. The Seahawks are done. They're 2-4. They're in the last place in that division, and they're not getting Russ.
They're 2-4. Why is this? Nothing is updating.
That's what I'm here.
I was going to say, Brinson, they were both 2 and 3. I wasn't going to chime in.
Jesus has been.
Are you reading information from last week? You're talking about the Jets in London. You're talking about teams being 2 and 3.
I mean, I'm yeah.
This is the Pick 5 podcast.
Well, no, it's just the NFL has a information dissemination system, and it's just not updating.
I will say this while you find out what day it is. TJ Watt has earned every penny, and Jamal Adams. Hey, man, here's an idea. Don't let the ball hit you in the face. How about you catch the football? I know you were looking at Deontay Johnson. I don't care. You said before in your intro, you're the best player in the nation, which, okay, are you in high school? If so, make the play.
Yeah, that's on me. So the Seahawks, look, apologies from earlier. Seahawks are 2-4. Steelers are 3-3. Thank you, Breech and Wilson, for jumping right in and correcting me on those records. Thank you, NFL, for not updating that. I mean, the Seahawks are a full 4 games back.
They have the Saints, they have the Jags, then they have to bye. Then after that, it's the Packers and Cardinals, I think. That's all right.
What was crazy is that they came into that game and tried to put it on Geno in the first half. And it felt like Pete Carroll went into halftime, and either everyone on the Seahawks told him that it wasn't Russell quarterbacking, or he went to Shane Waldron and said, if you let Geno pass more than once on the first drive out of halftime, I will fire you on the spot. And they just pounded Alex Collins.
Or he unplugged Shane Waldron's headset and went to Geno and said, you hand it off on every single play until I say otherwise. Because that's what it felt like. I mean, they literally just, whatever their plan was in the first half, they threw it out the window and said, we're just giving the ball to Alex Collins. That's it. And if it doesn't work, we'll take the L. But it did work.
I would argue that game was worse than the 9:30 a.m. game in London.
Oh, way worse.
Yeah.
Don't compare those games. The 9:38 game, we'll get to it, but it was a classic.
Geno at halftime was 8 of 14 for 63 yards.
Yeah, I don't know how many rushing yards they had, but they certainly switched that around because what are you doing?
I think he went 15 of 19 in the second half.
Collins had 4 carries for 19 yards.
And look, part of the reason may have been that the Steelers were actually stopping the run. But in the second half, they said, nah, well, let's just let them steamroll us for 35 minutes.
Yeah. I don't want to spend an eternity on this game because I don't think either of these teams are making the playoffs.
No, there's a 0% chance that the Steelers make it, and there's a negative 15% chance.
I mean, the Seahawks, if they could somehow beat the Saints.
I think the Steelers are more likely than the Seahawks.
They have the Saints and Jacksonville in the next 2 weeks. If they can win those and get to the bye 4-4 and Russell Wilson comes back, they have a fighting chance to get to the playoffs.
Why do you think the Seahawks are beating the Saints?
Because it's in Seattle on prime time, Brinson. Have you ever seen a prime time game in Seattle?
Hey, remember
they're all crazy. They're all bonkers.
Remember when Breech said that no one beats Russell Wilson in Seattle, and then Teddy Bridgewater went there with the Saints, I believe, and smoked them. Was that you, Breech?
Remember when Breech? Yeah, Breech also said that Andy Dalton was going to win 9 games with the Cowboys. It was crazy.
Whoa! Don't.
By the way,
you, Breech?
Stink on me.
Before we get off this game, I do want to point out somebody got mad at me in my DMs. Shout out to random dude because he was like, it's perfectly legal for Russell Wilson to be out of the coin toss.
I didn't care.
I think it's just weird to be on injured reserve and be out of the coin toss.
It was weirder that he was on the field in that when the time was expiring. If you got flagged for that, I'd be like, oh, okay, what are you doing? But,
actually, you know what the weirdest thing was? He did a fake huddle thing before the game. He was going through warmups. He was down on one knee by the end zone and was fake talking to other people, and then clapped his hands and went up and did it.
By the way, that was a job interview for Mike Tomlin for next year.
Ooh, maybe so. All right, let's move on from that game to the Cowboys. 35-29 over the Patriots.
Fun.
Was this not your lock of the week? Or was it? Oh, it was Texans.
Yeah, Texans. You got it.
That's right. So the Cowboys, hope you had Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb in your Millie Maker because you made a bunch of money. The Cowboys win in New England after a really great effort, I thought, by the Pats, in a game the Pats probably should have won. I think Cowboys fans believe that the referees screwed over the Cowboys. As Debo noted in the rundown when building it out, 567 yards, the most a Bill Belichick defense has ever allowed in a game, ever, any regular season or playoffs. That is not ideal, but I find that Mike McCarthy is my biggest concern here. He was
Same old.
He's just like, oh, it's been a weekend at PFF. Everything's fine. Like, no, it's not fine.
No, that's right. I thought there was a lot to like about this game. Trevon Diggs, another interception. Are we serious right now?
But then he immediately gave up another Kendrick
right.
Bourne.
But that's so, I was thinking about that. I don't know what his PFF grade is. I don't think it's great, but if you're
I think a bunch of podcast listeners liked the tweet I sent to Devo.
I don't know what you said in that.
All right.
People want Breech to wave his left arm in the chat. Your left arm, Breech. That's
why.
I don't know. Again, why wouldn't you want to watch on YouTube to see?
Because we have a bunch of sickos, guys. I hold my laptop. It's on my lap. It's a laptop.
Oh,
You don't have a desk there?
Well, I have a desk, but it's not in my setup. Not in my
Good job by the chat to discover something that we've been doing this for like
fun
years.
fact. My desk
Anyway, so-
is to my right.
Trevon Diggs, that's a trade-off. You're getting turnovers and the occasional big play. Dak Prescott is he's in the running with Kyler Murray for, I think it's 1 and 2, maybe. Who else is number 2?
I think Kyler's definitely one. We'll see what Josh Allen does.
Josh Allen
Yeah.
is number 1.
Dak is right there.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, shut up, Breech.
Well, he's number 1 right there.
No, Kyler's 1.
They're the same.
No,
Are they the same? I can't tell.
Kyler's 3.5 to 1. Josh Allen's 4.5 to 1. Dak is 5.5 to 1. Tom Brady 6.5 to 1. Stafford 8 to 1 after a big game from him.
That's fool's bet. But
Okay,
to your point, Cowboys look really good on the road. They haven't won there in forever. I think 1990 or something. They haven't won on the road in New England. Maybe.
The Cowboys are peacocking to a division title, and then they're going to lose. Probably they're going to win a playoff game and then lose a heartbreaking second playoff game on a Mike McCarthy
So I'll just say this, and then Breech can talk.
time management situation.
I said it last week, and I'll be saying it until the season's over. I hate these taunting rules, but I was laughing hysterically at the way the game ended. So CeeDee Lamb catches the touchdown, and he slows up because who cares? Jalen Mills keeps coming and just pushes him over needlessly. He was already in the end zone.
We waved at him going in.
No, he just sucked the ball out, and he was like sort of primetime peacocking. And then Jalen Mills chucks him to the ground once he's in the end zone. No need to chuck him, but he's mad, whatever. And CD gets up and does the the little the pageantry wave. And you can throw the flag if you want. Game's over. I don't care. So good for CD for working around those stupid rules to taunt.
I thought he waved on the way in.
No, he just stuck the ball out.
Okay.
And sort of took his time. Slow walked it, if you will.
Oh yeah. But he was open like this and walking in. All right. Okay. There's arm movement out towards Jalen Mills. Look, the Cowboys are just good.
Mm-hmm. Like at no point did I think they weren't going to be in this.
Well, that's the thing. If you watch this game, I feel like they should have won it by 3 touchdowns. Like that was the feeling. They were just moving the ball up and down the field, except they couldn't get in the end zone. They had the Dak Prescott fumble on the 1-yard line on 4th down, even though he probably should have scored on 3rd down, but the refs didn't give it to him.
That's why the Cowboys fans are mad. So
yep.
Well, no, and then you have
multiple holding calls they felt were bogus or should have been called.
Okay.
And then you get to the second half and the Mike McCarthy decisions we're talking about. You have 4th and 2 at New England's 33-yard line, 2:42 left in the game, and the Cowboys were trailing 21-20. So either you try the 51-yard field goal or you try for a first down, and you have already put up the most yardage ever on a Bill Belichick defense. So you're clearly having a lot of success. And if you get that first down, you make the kick closer. Like hitting a 50-plus yard field goal in New England outdoors is not an easy thing to do. And if you get the first down, you can burn off more clock. You're closer for your kicker. And what happens? He misses it, but ended up working out in the Cowboys' favor because Mac Jones threw a pick 6 to Trayvon Diggs. And then
not Mac Jones' call, by the way.
Not Mac Jones, tipped off the receiver. But then he had the same situation, 4th and 1 at the end of the game. And, obviously Zerline made that and forced overtime. But it was just crazy that, again, it's what we talked about before, where McCarthy has this analytical brain where he went for on 4th down a couple times in the first half, but he doesn't know when to use it.
He has a brain.
He doesn't know. He's got the information.
Brain.
He's got the information in there. It's like he doesn't comprehend what he learned, and he's like, "Is it 4th down? Let me flip a coin and we'll go for it."
The Zerline field goal at the end of the game they run a play. It's third and like, was it third and 25 or third? And,
Yep, third and 25, and they got
25. They run a play. CeeDee Lamb catches it right at the first down marker, and there's 24 seconds left, and you have one timeout, or I think you have one timeout, and it's very clear, like, what you do in this spot is you let the clock run down as long as possible, and then you call timeout with 4 seconds left. So that way, if you make the field goal, it goes to overtime. If you miss, you lose, and you're putting it on the kicker anyway, but it's a shorter field goal. It's what you're going for. You have the timeout, and that's just the situation. McCarthy calls timeout with 24 seconds left.
Well, no. You call the timeout with 3 seconds left because if he makes it, then you don't kick it off. You don't
That's what I'm saying. But you definitely don't call it with 24 seconds left.
Not at all.
You guarantee the Patriots have, I don't know, the ball goes out of bounds, and the Patriots get one pass complete, and all of a sudden they bang down a field goal.
Do you think it was Mike McCarthy just doing the element of surprise?
Some people were trying to suggest that he thought they got the first down.
That's on him then.
Correct. Or thought he was going to go for it, which again, that's not true because he rushed the field goal unit out there. By the way, we saw that graphic, 2016 Cowboys, the last Dallas team to start 5-1. Do you guys remember who those Dallas Cowboys lost to in the playoffs?
Well, that team went 13-3. That was Dak's rookie year, along with
Dak
Zeke.
beat out Zeke for offensive rookie of the year.
And that's when Tony Romo got hurt.
There's a very specific play that I'm thinking about from this game.
So they lost in the playoffs. I don't know. Do you remember, Breech?
I'm thinking, and I'm going through all the teams in my head.
Mike McCarthy the Green Bay
Packers.
Is that the Des Bryant game?
Yeah, because what was it? Jared?
No,
Cook?
that was not the Dez game.
No, it wasn't the Dez game. It was the Rodgers had was it Cook that he threw to?
He had a crazy throw on the sideline that set up a game-winning field goal.
Throw to Cook on the sideline to win or not to set up the Mason Crosby field goal.
Which Cook?
Jared Cook.
Jared play for the Packers?
Not now.
No, but I don't remember. God, I don't remember playing for the Packers. He played for so many teams. All right, cool.
Yeah, he's bounced around a bunch. He was in Green Bay for 1 year. That year.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, well done.
Yeah, good for Jared Cook.
Good for Mike McCarthy. He was the last team to beat the Cowboys. It's a fun fact, Brinson.
Now I'm trying to think if yeah, you're right. Well, I don't know if it was the last team to beat the Cowboys. I'm trying to think if there's a McCarthy. Did McCarthy kind of screw up the clock there? It was like McCarthy versus Jason Garrett. It was the ultimate I
was actually going to ask
game of chicken.
Who would you rather have, Jason Garrett or with his unplugged headset, or Mike McCarthy actually still with the batteries in his headset?
McCarthy couldn't screw up the clock because Aaron Rodgers wouldn't let him in that situation.
I think McCarthy only because I would want I want this he's not nothing he's doing is making sense, but at least he's being really aggressive and going forward on weird fourth downs.
He's completely random. You have no idea what he's going to do. Are we all? I mean, that miss on the Dak Prescott touchdown is extremely annoying, given that the Patriots legitimately cost him to fumble in the next play. I mean, that's the type of thing that can mean number 1 seed or whatever.
Every week with these refs, it's pretty wild.
I just don't get it. I don't get why it takes 40 minutes to replay to come to a conclusion on replay that everyone can, with one good eye, can figure out is okay. It's a catch. It's an incompletion. Let's go. Let's stop with it.
Should we have a separate podcast where we talk about bad calls from the week? Is that what you're trying to say, Wilson?
What grinds my gears starting.
No, I mean, it's just frustrating that the NFL makes $14 billion a year.
And
they won't invest more money into making sure that the product is more fair.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Email investigations.
Yeah, well, that's because controversies are fun to talk about.
Oh, by the way, before we forget, for whatever reason, this brand new laptop I've got is not sending me Slack alerts after it switched into night mode. Breech.
Come on.
How's your brand new laptop going?
It's actually amazing. I showed it to you because, as I said, that's what's in my lap as a laptop. It's
Wilson, how's your brand new laptop?
It's so good.
You don't have a brand new laptop.
It's a year old. I take care of my things.
This one, you don't have an emoji.
I don't use emoji, so it works out perfectly for me.
That's not true. You write eyes on our text all the time. You write eyes and then forget to change it to the emoji.
And you just told me last week your favorite movie is the Emoji Movie.
That is that movie.
Oh! All right. So the next game on our list.
That's a pity dunk.
Yeah. Cardinals 37, Browns 14.
Dang it, Browns.
God. That was one of my best bets, and they got bullet screened. I will say that.
Don't make excuses.
Well, no, when the inactives came out, I was worried Kareem Hunt might be on there.
He made his way to the list.
Yeah, he ain't playing on Thursday. I feel very confident about that. Instead, it was Jedrick Wills and Jack Conklin, which is a way bigger. Those are the two tackles for the Browns. Baker has this major shoulder problem. I can't believe he came back in the game. And
yeah, is it hurt or not? Which is it? Because you were right.
He's hurt, man. He's gutting through it.
Oh,
you think he's faking that injury?
I don't think he's faking it. But if he's 75%, just put Case Keenum out there. At that point, it didn't matter. They were losing with it.
It's a non-throwing shoulder, but he clearly landed on it, and you could see it. Like,
I mean, if he's 85, put Case Keenum out there.
It looked like it looked like there was separation occurring as he hit the ground.
It was stretched.
Yeah, it
didn't look. JJ Watt thing ever is he injures a guy and then he calls for the medics to come out there quickly. We get it. Just to put him down lightly if you don't want to have to be waving like an inside.
Like a bad tackle. He just
I know, but he's always the guy to jump up and be like, "Come on, get out!"
He's like, no, I mean, he heard Baker. He heard something pop. So, and then the Browns said that Baker was probable to return, which was a little surprising.
He didn't miss a snap. They took him out. Mercy took him out at the end when they were getting whooped.
The Cardinals.
They should have Mercy taken him out in the first quarter.
The Cardinals play the Texans next, and the Packers in 2 weeks on Thursday.
They're going to be 10-1, worst case. Go down the rest of that schedule for the Cardinals.
So they're Texans at home, Packers at home on a short week for both teams, obviously. Unless the Packers don't bye this week. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I don't know.
At the 49ers, Panthers at home, at the Seahawks, at the Bears.
And Russell Wilson will probably be back. I don't know. That's easy 10-1.
Not easy, but it feels quite doable.
I mean, this team's going to the playoffs, right?
This game was the game that all of us, I think, would agree that they were going to lose because it was going to be burst the bubble. No Cliff Kingsbury, no Chandler Jones. Kyler Murray's not 100%. None of that mattered. Kyler Murray, by the way,
Kingsbury out was a benefit.
Yeah. Do you know how many times Kyler Murray's rushed for over 40 yards this season in a game?
Rush for over 40 yards in a game?
Yeah.
Once.
Like this season, I would say,
Ooh.
What week is it? 7? I would say 7.
He already gave you the answer. 0.
Goose egg. 0.
Took too long to guess.
40 once?
Never. He's throwing the ball. He's staying behind the line of scrimmage. He's moving around. He's making plays. He's throwing like the crazy sort of Ben Roethlisberger passes falling backwards, but he has an arm and he's athletic and he knows what he's doing. And oh, by the way, and I know we can talk about injuries all you want for the Browns. DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green have never been more wide open going back to high school. I mean, they
Browns play bad.
10 yards of separation on every route, no matter where they were, no matter the level. And credit to Kyler Murray for getting him the ball. And that game was over, as Breech noted early. Baker looked off, and you can blame the tornadoes, you can blame the weather, you can blame him being injured. And if so, I sort of agree with Breech. Bring in Case Keenum. He's one of the best backups in the NFL. Bring him out there.
I have a fun fact that I don't think anybody else will have on any podcast or any recap.
Oh boy, here we go.
So Jeff Rodgers, right? The special teams coordinator and assistant head coach for the Cardinals, who was like co-head coaches with.
Oh, okay. Never heard of him before.
Right. Yeah, but believe me, nobody's going to have this one. His brother, Jeff Rodgers' brother, started in high school in Texas ahead of Drew Brees.
That's a great fun fact.
Tore his ACL, and Brees took over, and Brees headed to the Hall of Fame now. Fun fact.
Who was the
my buddy went to TCU as boys with Jeff's brother is the connection there. How I know the fun fact. Anyway, the Cardinals are very good. They're just good.
But are the Browns really bad?
No.
I think
Nick Chubb didn't play. Obviously, Kareem Hunt got hurt, but like
both tackles.
I think what I saw is that if Baker Mayfield has to carry the team,
Bengals fan.
If Baker Mayfield has to carry, this was everybody's worry. This is all everybody talked about for the last year and a half.
No, you're right. You're exactly right. This looks like Freddie Kitchens football because Baker's being asked to do everything. No, but the point is, Conklin's out. Wills is out.
Are you concerned about the Browns? That's a better question.
Not
I think it's fair to be concerned about the Browns' injuries because if you have a lot of injuries to Cleveland on the offensive line and the running backs, then you are inherently going to be dealing with a team that has to change its identity mid-season.
Well, how much better do you feel now that they're playing the Broncos and the Steelers before they have to play Breech's Bengals?
Well, they just gave up 47 points to the Chargers and 37 points to the Cardinals.
Again,
those are two of the better teams in football.
Right.
Chargers scored 6 points today.
Okay, yeah, the Chargers are terrible all of a sudden. Just settle down. You beat the Lions. Settle down.
I know. If this guy peacocking after a win over Dan Campbell's down 31-0. He kicked a field goal. Breech is like, we're the best in football. So with that schedule I mean, look, if Baker's, I don't know that there's people are, midway through this game, people are like, you can't pay Baker now. It's like, let's just take a breath, guys.
You're going to have to pay him. What's plan B? That's what I always come back to.
Case Keenum.
I don't know there's a huge drop-off to Case Keenum. I'm not sure why Case Keenum didn't play in this game.
That's what me and Breech were saying.
I mean, if you're Kevin Stefanski, are you secretly hoping that Case Keenum is starting Thursday so that you just kind of – would you rather have 100% Case Keenum who's 100% healthy or 85% Baker Mayfield?
He's the coach. Why don't you just take him out? Why does he have to hope?
Because you don't want to, hurt your quarterback's feelings. Coaches think about that stuff. They think about that
Bill
stuff.
Belichick thinks about hurt feelings?
No, I mean, there's only one Belichick. And no, he doesn't. He does not care. He will send you to Tampa Bay before he will worry about hurting your feelings.
Yeah.
I would rather have 100% Case Keenum than 85% Baker.
100%. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's a situation for the Browns. Now, the Browns are 3-3, but at least pump.
Tied with the Steelers, by the way.
For last place.
Ugh.
Is that right? Man,
they're tied for third or fourth. Your call.
But their losses are the Chiefs in week 1, the Cardinals in a game. The Cardinals the Cardinals had tons of COVID stuff dealing with, no head coach. They showed up and they dropped 37 on the Browns in a wind-filled Paul Brown Stadium. And then their other loss was a crazy 47-42 loss to the Chargers.
Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati.
Whatever. God,
this is First Energy Stadium in Cleveland. Getting in your Ohio stadiums. You're banned from Ohio.
We're like
I'm just off on everything. Why did I think it was Paul Brown Stadium? The dog pound, whatever.
It was the right state. Right
I'm
state.
Sorry. I'm not doing a good job tonight. At any rate, their 3 losses are the Chiefs, the Cardinals, and the Chargers. I don't think it's time to pan. The Browns might actually be a great bet in the next 2 weeks.
But we keep making excuses for the Browns because they're dealing with all these injuries. And like you just said, the Cardinals didn't have their head coach. Cardinals didn't have Chandler Jones, and they still absolutely they rolled. This wasn't even close. This game was never close. They got steamrolled. The Cardinals scored on every possession without
Stefanski, by the way.
What'd you say?
Didn't the Browns win a playoff game last year without Stefanski?
Yeah, he was in the basement.
Fire your coach. Get rid of your coach.
Again, they're playing the Broncos and the Steelers. They'll get healthy, presumably, and they'll be fine. It's for the big Bengals matchup in 3 weeks.
You think it's a lock they beat both of those teams?
It's like 90%.
You sound like me talking myself into Carolina losing a bunch of games. That's exactly what you're
What are you doing?
You're like, are you sure these guys can't lose both of them? And then if we beat the Ravens, all of a sudden we are the team to win? All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I'm not going to do this in dance breach. When we come back, we'll talk about the Ravens.
Here we go.
It was showtime for the Ravens on Sunday as they took care of business against the Chargers, 34-6. I told Breech this on the Early Odds podcast, which you can listen to. We look at 5 or 6 games from week 7 and look at which way the lines might move and tell you early bets to get in. I looked at this Ravens Chargers game early because we had to put our picks in fairly early. And, I was like, well, if you give me 3 points, I'm going to take Justin Herbert. And the more you kind of looked at it, and then you see these defensive injuries for the Chargers, and you look at the Ravens and what they do on offense, pound the ball, and you look at what the Chargers struggle with because of their defensive setup. They prefer to sort of sit back in a shell and make you and dare you to run, and the Ravens just gashed them. And this was an ass beating. I mean, 34-6. If you're the Chargers coming in here thinking you might maybe flex on the Ravens and let everyone know you're the best team in the AFC, and you get absolutely punked down by Lamar Jackson. We had the 2017 Fantasy All-Star scoring touchdowns with Devonta Freeman, Le'Veon Bell, and Latavius Murray.
Le'Veon Bell wearing number 17 and weighing 185 pounds. I didn't know who he was. It's who was that guy? Yeah, and again, we talked about guys running wide open in the Browns game. Mark Andrews apparently was invisible. Hollywood Brown invisible in the first half. And then here's the problem. A lot of defenses are terrible this year. And if your offense isn't lights out, you could get I can't use the water analogy because I always get it wrong. You get your doors blown off. So that's what happened. And do you think, and I'm as guilty of this as anyone, maybe the guiltiest, we were loving up Brandon Staley too much.
And Justin Herbert, maybe?
Not Justin Herbert.
I mean, Herbert's awesome, but I mean, the past week, there were people talking about, would you take Herbert or Mahomes? Like, what are we doing?
But Justin Herbert has a year on his resume.
No one is taking. I was chatting with like a buddy who's a Chargers fan, and he said, "Well, if you take the contract, you might take Herbert." I was like, yeah, actually, maybe you're right.
Here's the other thing, and we'll get into this a little bit, but Mahomes threw the worst interception I've ever seen outside of the Big Ben interception.
Mahomes hasn't been good, but
also, and our buddy Joe Musso made this point, and it's actually, I think it's worth some merit. Justin Herbert, I think he seems to have everything tidy at home. Like, I guess, like Mahomes' fiance, like she's.
Let's talk about it when we get to the Chargers. I mean, with the Chiefs.
Well, my point to your point is that maybe there's less hectic stuff going on behind the scenes for Justin Herbert than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Have you talked to any of your friends who are single versus you with children?
No, but I mean, like his brother. Well, again, his brother does TikTok stuff.
Yeah. If you're Justin Herbert, you're just a single, quiet dude from Oregon. Yeah. Life is great. Patrick Mahomes got kids and a wife, family.
I don't know if he's married, but yes.
Patrick Mahomes is.
I think he's married. Breech will know. Breech is on the entertainment.
Patrick Mahomes is definitely married.
They're not married yet.
They're not married. Okay, definitely not married. But he has. Okay, fine.
They're engaged, and I think they have a wedding going down next March, per my gossipy sources.
Oh, it's Trevor Lawrence who got married during the pandemic. My apologies.
Yeah.
Again, wouldn't expect me to get anything right tonight. Lamar Jackson, the most wins by a starting quarterback before the age of 25. He surpasses Dan Marino, 34 wins. Lamar, 35. Bledsoe had 32, and Big Ben had 29. It was, I think it was a Jeremy Fowler, and it's not that he said this, but someone told him this before the season. This might be the year defenses figure out Lamar. Yeah, not so much.
Might be, might not be.
Might not be. Looking like not.
I think, we just talked about Brandon Staley, and I think that one thing we talked about last week was when we were fawning over him was if there was one thing that wasn't sustainable, it was that the Chargers were hitting on like 90% of their fourth downs. And if you're going for it on fourth down all the time, you were not going to make it 90% of the time.
It was 100%, I believe.
We even mentioned last week that's going to blow up in his face at some point, and what is going to be the response to like his coaching style when that happens. And we saw it happen twice in this game where we had they're trailing 14-0. They go for it on 4th and 3 from their own 39-yard line. That's fine. Like if that's your style, do it. I think then he did it again in the second half, and I thought this one was a little bit weird because
from the 19,
from his own 19-yard line, you're down 24-6. If you don't make this, the game's over. Like you're literally waving the white flag if you fail to get this first down. And so, there is smart and crazy, and there's a fine line. And Staley was walking it today, and he kind of stumbled over into crazy territory.
You're right. I mean, you're basically giving up. But I think if the math isn't what the math is, that's fine. But I think what you're saying on another level, if you're Brandon Staley, is okay. Do I want to die a slow death, or do I just want you to shoot me and get it over with? And I think that's what happened from the 19-yard line, because after that, and I can imagine someone like Mike McCarthy or Pete Carroll, like literally throwing their old school televisions at the wall to see someone go for it on their own 19 on fourth down, with working out the way it did. So, but I think you have to live with it. But Brandon Staley apparently is not. He's actually human, and that came to light loud and clear in a game that I don't know why I thought the Ravens weren't going to show up. They did.
Yeah, I sound. I mean,
we all bit on it.
I got to quit listening to you fools. You guys are messing up my mojo.
This has nothing to do with us. You make your own picks. You're a grown man.
I know, you're right. And I'm blaming myself.
Make your own picks. Don't. Dang it. This game felt like it was going to be, and this is, I thought, by the way, Herbert might actually be an interesting MVP bet after this game, because his odds will probably get to 15-1, maybe 20-1.
They are not, they're no longer, I don't know if they were last week. They're not favorites.
14-1 right now on Caesars, apparently.
And Chargers are not favorites to win the division as we sit here.
Right, they shouldn't be. Chiefs should be.
That's what it is.
I hope everyone bet the Chiefs, like we've been saying for the last 2 weeks. Even though it feels scary and dangerous, bet the Chiefs. Probably bet Clemson to win the ACC right now. At any rate, KC plus 110. That's still a bet.
That is a bet.
I mean, like everyone should probably bet that.
Raiders are 4-2. What about plus 800?
You guys laughed at me last week when I said Raiders at plus 1,600.
The Chiefs are 1 game back of the division lead, and they are plus money.
Breech is banging the Raiders.
Bet the Chiefs to win the AFC West. Don't bet the Raiders. What are you talking about?
Have you watched the Chiefs play?
Have you watched the Raiders? Dude, the Raiders had a dead cat John Gruden bounce.
I'm curious. We'll get to that. I'm curious what happened.
Right. At any rate, the Chargers, I'm not too worried about the Chargers. I think it's a bad matchup for them. The one thing I would be concerned about for Brandon Staley and Justin Herbert in this game in particular, the Ravens are very likely going to the playoffs. They're 5-1.
100%.
Right. I mean, they're very, very likely to be in the playoffs. If the Ravens and Chargers match up in the playoffs again, that is suboptimal for the Chargers because of the two styles that the teams play.
Yeah, I think that the Chargers will play much better. Justin Herbert didn't play well. He rarely doesn't play well. The Ravens defense
probably the worst game of his career.
It's a 10 a.m. start time.
Right.
Didn't have to deal with a lot of those when you're in the Pac-12 in college.
Yeah, I was going to point out Matthew.
They don't have alarm clocks on the West Coast. The Ravens defense played as well as they've played in 2 years. I mean, they were getting after it. So,
God, get to 100 likes on this friggin' YouTube so we can give away this damn hat, guys. Just press the like button. If you're watching, you're either have a computer in front of. Look at this. Have a computer in front of you or a device. Hit the like.
I just
button.
looked and it's at 92.
There you go. I mean, it's 1:15 in the morning. I mean, it is what it is.
Oh God, it is. All right, let's go.
My God.
Speaking of the Chiefs 31, Washington 13. We already answered who will win the AFC West. Here's a better question. Patrick Mahomes washed?
That interception was
that's a really bad pick.
Terrible. And here's the thing. Someone threw away my notes when I was doing HQ earlier, but he had as many turnover-worthy plays last season as he's had so far this season, but he had a bunch of drops, like a bunch of interceptions dropped. The year before, he had much fewer. But I think he's just a lot of averages caught up with him this year in terms of throwing crazy passes that didn't go to Tyreek Hill. And this year, even, there you go, 12 interceptions in the last 9 regular season starts, 8 interceptions this season. The Tyreek Hill interception wasn't Patrick Mahomes' fault, but just law of averages. I think Patrick Mahomes' mom was on Twitter saying it wasn't Patrick's fault on that interception.
No, she said it should be counted different. Like, settle, lady.
And that is my favorite part is that 20 minutes after she tweets that, he throws one where, that was his fault.
Whose fault is that?
It's also like, look, man, like he won everyone widely considers him to be the best player in football. Like maybe settle down on the Tyreek Hill drop the pass thing.
Wilson, it wasn't Byron Pringle. It was Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Wilson, I'm trying to remember, what was your first year covering the draft?
As a junior draft analyst?
Yeah, junior draft analyst, yeah.
2018.
So it wasn't the Mahomes year. Because, and I mean, like, this sounds kind of crazy, but so when Mahomes came out, and the reason he fell in the draft, it wasn't the obvious number 1 pick.
2019, sorry, I was doing the math. So yeah, Daniel Jones year, go ahead.
That's right, in Nashville. So the scouting reports on Mahomes were he will take a ton of chances, has a lot of Brett Favrean qualities,
gunslinger,
willing to be aggressive, a gunslinger. And to your point about the stats, because I think I mentioned this in the previous show, his interceptable passes have always been high, but he got lucky with them. So the natural regression to a higher interception total, coupled with a bad defense that forces him to be more aggressive as a quarterback to try and put the team on his shoulders. Like, this is why we're seeing an interception spike. But it's pretty weird that this is happening in year 4 of Mahomes after year 2 is, 50 and 5,000. I think it's more of a statement about the Chiefs defense than anything else.
I think you're right. I think
Mahomes is forced to he's pressing.
He feels like he has to do too much. I mean, that's what it's happening when these plays. He's like, They usually come on a third down, or he knows if he's going to get sacked on, it's going to create a third and long because he's being sacked on second down. And in his head, he's thinking, we cannot punt the ball because that means our defense gets on the field. I'd rather throw an interception, which is the same as a punt. And then he's coming up with these bonehead plays that you never saw him play. He never made these plays before. I mean, this is just uncharacteristic.
The interceptions are 14-yard interceptions, not 45-yard interceptions.
Some punters only go 14 yards. I mean,
yeah. But again, I think, I fell in love with Brandon Staley and Justin Herbert, but I think the tried and true Andy Reid plus Patrick Mahomes is probably the way to go if you are trying to find a team that's going to win that division.
I mean, if you could look, we just finished week 6 in the NFL. There are 18 weeks for the first time in the history of professional football. You're being given the Chiefs at plus money to win the division.
Right.
Go take the money.
The defense can't get worse. Patrick Mahomes, I would imagine, isn't going to continue to throw interceptions at this rate. It's going to turn around. And
again, the Chiefs' losses are to the Ravens, Chargers,
Bills.
Bills.
The Bills.
Yeah. But I mean, arguably 3 of the best teams in the conference, Like you don't have to worry about them getting the number 1 seed. You want them to win the division at plus money. That is they were like minus 700 before the season or minus 600. Go bet that. If it's plus money, bet the Chiefs. Okay. By the way, Washington, very disappointing.
I don't know how all these
I'm betting the Chiefs so I can win my Washington losses back.
I don't know how all these teams that need quarterbacks are going to solve the quarterback problems between the lack of quarterbacks in the draft and then Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, assuming Aaron Rodgers, those guys. And then who? Like, where are these guys coming from?
Washington's in a pickle. Their defense is
How is their defense so bad? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, all defense.
People will tweet you and be like, it's Landon Collins. It's like, I just watched Landon Collins give up a 70-yard play. Oh, by the way, this should be noted here on the Chiefs side of things too. I don't know if you guys saw it because it kind of flew under the radar in the 1:00 games, but Travis Kelce it looked like a pretty severely sprained wrist. If I can be Dr. Brinson for a second.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Worth watching.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire out. Travis Kelce, keep an eye on.
Chiefs banged up. Still plus money to win the division. Washington, not very good. Taylor Heineke. Oh God, I played him in fantasy all over the place.
Yeah.
Wilson, if you had to have surgery, would you let Dr. Brinson do it or a cat?
Cat.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too. Well, it depends on what time of day it is. So if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to the podcast, you can go to the YouTube page, youtube.com/pick6. Put your Twitter handle or, because we have some, like Wilson, elderly listeners. You can put something in the YouTube chat.
Your AOL email if you want.
Are we going to what do we do, Debo, here? 24-hour window?
No, we're going to do it by the end of the show. Because
Oh.
I want to reward people that are watching right now.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I was going to try to do 24 hours. Debo says right now.
We have more giveaways coming. Don't worry.
Twitter
Yeah,
handle.
we got to give away this Seahawks football I got here.
AOL email account, whatever.
Brinson sucks.
Oh, God, I got to mail this thing, don't I? Maybe Breech can mail his.
Yeah, right. You think I'm giving this thing up?
You're also terrible. You're worse than
When
me.
I wear this, I sign autographs. People want my autograph.
It's
a
yes,
collection.
you, listener, watcher on YouTube, can have a Brinson Sucks hat sent to your house.
You know, I
Put
was
the
thinking.
Twitter handle in the chat, and at the end of the show, Devo's going to pick somebody random, and we'll give it away to him, and you will have one of, I believe, only it's either 3 or 4 Brinson Sucks hats available on the planet.
Yeah, I think Lewis may have made like 10 of them. Our buddy Lewis.
Or maybe, yeah. Well, okay.
they're
I
taken.
got an I Suck hat and a Brinson Sucks hat for my wife.
Of course you do.
She won't wear it, so I'm sending it to somebody. So you're getting the Brinson Sucks hat that I possess, which, I mean, what a keepsake.
And
Raiders,
maybe even find some hair plugs in there. Who knows?
maybe so. Or maybe your hair will grow back. Or you should try one on, Wilson. Maybe your hair will grow back.
Internet.
Raiders 34, Broncos 24. That does not do it justice with how much of a blowout that game was. Hilariously, 2 things for me. Obviously, John Gruden was fired.
What? Resigned.
What? And the Raiders scored on their opening drive for the first time all season.
12 games, actually.
Oh, 12 games, you're right.
Yeah.
And Kenyon Drake scored a touchdown. The $5 million, the $13 million man or whatever he is. It was, I don't know, it was just weird. It was like the Chargers-Ravens game. The read on this one, and Vic Tafur of The Athletic tweeted out about it, that Vic Fangio was terrified that the Raiders would be amped up about this game because they try to, it's a football team. Your coach is fired midweek or Monday night, and you're trying to piece it together. So you sort of you focus in on work. You try to you bring everything to this game.
Why?
I don't think this is what the Raiders are. I think this is
No, you're right. You called it earlier dead cat bounce. I think that's right.
Yeah, exactly. And I read it wrong. I thought the Broncos were a lock because the Raiders would be just sort of wandering around after the Gruden firing, and they just focused in on football. I will be betting against the Raiders next week. I'll tell you that much.
So Rick Bisaccia, is that how you say his name? I think it's how you say it.
Yep.
So he's making, $12 an hour, and he's better than the guy who's making $10 million a year. That's the lesson I'm learning here.
He's been Gruden's right-hand man for a while now.
You don't think Gruden would have beat the Broncos?
No.
They didn't look very.
If they had not fired John, or if John Gruden had not resigned, and they had to deal with the stuff that was, they lost to the Bears last week, Breech.
Well, and Brinson, you mentioned how this was the Raiders' first opening drive touchdown. Not even that. It was their first quarter touchdown of the year. They had not scored a touchdown at any point in the first quarter all season until this game.
And they played the Steelers.
And so that means John Gruden finished without leading his team to a first quarter touchdown.
And that's the thing, that offense, when you look at Football Outsiders, it was in the mid-20s. So it wasn't like John Gruden, offensive savant, had that team on all cylinders. Henry Ruggs is making plays. I think the other takeaway is that the Broncos are the worst team, one of the worst teams in the AFC. What's that face for?
We fell for the Mirage 3-0 start when they beat the
one game back of the
Giants, Jets, and Jacksonville.
Yeah, who'd they beat?
I mean, well, first of all, they're better than the Jets, Jaguars, Dolphins.
Oh, okay. Thank God. They would have to be. And they lost to the Steelers. They just lost to a Ravens team that doesn't have a coach. I mean, they're a bad football team. Teddy looked terrible.
Teddy Bridgewater throws 49 times. You're probably not winning a football game.
They're not good. They're not. There's no chance they make the playoffs. They're finishing last in that division.
They are currently tied with the Chiefs.
Oh! Hey, I would love for you to bet on them to win the division.
All right, I'm gonna name some. They're tied with the Browns.
Okay, then your follow-up question to yourself, not to me, because I know the answer is
Tied with the Patriots.
Would the Broncos beat any of those teams?
I would.
Well, we're gonna find out on Thursday when they play the Browns.
Yes, they do play the Browns on Thursday, so they're good call, Breech. Obviously, I'm not taking the Broncos over the Chiefs. I just stated I would take the Chiefs to win the division. I will take the Broncos over and I know they just played. Please don't pull the transitive property on me. I will still take the Broncos long-term, season-long record over the Raiders. Again, I know they played.
Sorry, just laughing at you.
I don't know how.
I will take them over the Steelers, and I know they just played too.
My God.
I'll take them not over the Browns. Patriots, I think the Patriots would beat their pants off in a head-to-head, but I think that the Broncos might have a better record. Colts, Jets, Dolphins, Texans, Jaguars for sure.
Better record than the Patriots. This team, okay, over under 7 games on the Broncos.
Let's see their schedule real quick.
I don't care if they play. If they play the Jaguars every game.
6.5 or 7.5. Gotta go half. Can't go. I'm gonna push.
Oh, you can take 7. I don't think they'll win 7. So 7.5.
No, I'm not taking 7.5. I want to get the 7 win for me is what I'm asking.
Oh, I'll give you 6.5. That's fine. You take
I'll take that over.
Breech.
7.5 for the Broncos. 7.5 wins.
6.5.
I'll give you 6.5.
Well, is it 6.5 or 7.5?
6.5.
And they already have 3.
Who's on first?
Yes, we're going with.
Yeah, they have to win 4 games.
We're going with Earth records.
Yeah, I think they're going to win 4 games.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they go 7-10.
Okay.
Washington and Philly, I feel like are wins.
Play the Lions.
How are they?
They play the trash Bengals. They play the Lions.
I do hope they beat the Bengals by 50.
I think they'll beat the Raiders in Las Vegas when they play them again.
No, they're going to get smoked.
You guys are nuts. Wait, why do you think the Raiders are going to?
Why do you think the Broncos are good?
But
Brinson high, exactly.
Brinson high. I'm either confirmed or denied. No, I can deny that. I'm not high.
That should be the next hat. Instead of Brinson sucks, it says Brinson high.
Yeah.
Brinson's high on sucking. Thank you. Oh, wow. Who woke up my 7-year-old? Tell me that. Look, the taking this game as a definitive statement about who the Raiders are is just I don't take this game as a definitive statement on anybody.
No one's doing that about the Raiders, but I think the Broncos are who they look like the last 2 weeks.
I think the Broncos are a average-ish team that if they pull off some wins they shouldn't have, can make a run to the play. I don't think the Broncos are great.
You just said there's 7 and
they're going to 7 wins. 7-10 is terrible.
You just said average. Which is it?
Well, that's average. 7-10, 8-9. What do you? I don't know anymore. Anyway.
Okay, let's move on because you're digging yourself a hole.
Okay.
Fill with
right.
pot leaves apparently.
What? what? Over under 7.5 wins for the Raiders.
I'm going under. I think both teams are not great, but I think the Raiders finish higher than the Broncos on schedule.
It'll be close. It'll depend on injuries and
the Raiders only have to win 4 more games to get over 7.5.
That's but literally the same number the Broncos have to win to get to 7.
Over.
Breech is so optimistic.
Over.
I want Raiders running through his head is like, when do I get to bash the other teams in the AFC North?
Yeah.
What?
Passive aggressive Breech.
No way.
Oh boy. The Vikings took down the Panthers 34-28 in overtime.
Backdoor cover.
What a bull blarb cover. I mean, this shouldn't happen.
No, never.
The Panthers have absolutely soiled themselves the last 2 weeks against the Eagles and Vikings at home and have obliterated their chances to win the division. And make the playoffs.
Okay.
And Sam Darnold has probably put himself in a situation where David Tepper is going to Teddy Bridgewater him and pay him to go away while he trades for Deshaun Watson.
Tepper's going to call the Texans Monday morning and be like, just what do you want? Tell us what you want for Deshaun Watson.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, what do you want for Tyrod Taylor?
What do you want? What do you want for Davis Mills? Just give us someone. We don't even care who it is.
What was it on our Slack channel earlier on Sunday? I was like, by the way, just want you to know, played Sam Darnold in a little bit of DFS. And 30 seconds later, Sam Darnold opening throw, interception.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a better runner at this point than he is a passer, and he's not a runner.
He didn't have more. He looked great on the final drive, but it's one of those where it's the same thing like Geno Smith against, last week where you come in, adrenaline's going, and you just sort of let it loose. Darnold, the offensive line is terrible. There were at least 10 plus drops in this game by Sam Darnold's receiver, so it's not all on him.
By DJ Moore all by himself.
Oh, Robbie Anderson was worse than DJ Moore.
Every time I looked up, DJ Moore's dropping a ball.
DJ Moore had 13 targets and 5 catches. Some of them were uncatchable, but he was terrible. Robbie Anderson had 11 targets, 3 catches. They're awful. I think the biggest difference for the Panthers, and this is kind of screwed up, I guess, but the lack of Christian McCaffrey, just how they sort of plan out their offense and how they use him as a safety net for Sam Darnold and the confidence he gives Sam Darnold, and him not being there has made a difference. Now, the Panthers played easier defenses early on. Remember, they struggled a little bit against the Jets, so it's not, they weren't like lighting it up.
I don't think if you're watching YouTube, you can see Sam in the first 3 games or 3-0, the same in the last 3 games. I don't think Chuba Hubbard isn't a nobody. Even if he's 50% of Christian McCaffrey,
5th round pick, right?
It's hard to, he's a day 2 guy. It's hard to explain these numbers. He's been more than serviceable. He's been pretty good.
He's been good, yeah.
But I mean, there's some other stuff going on with Sam Darnold. Yes, you would love to have Christian McCaffrey out there, but just because you don't, that doesn't mean suddenly you turn into Adam Gase Darnold.
I don't think that Joe Brady's been very good the last 3 games either.
Yeah,
most Panther fans would tell you that if some team came and knocking and wanted to give Joe Brady a head coaching job, they'd
LSU.
Well, what kind of plays are you supposed to call when your quarterback is throwing 24 incompletions a game and only completing 41% of his passes?
Plays.
There aren't a lot of options there. Darnold threw this game away.
Hey, Wilson. Do you remember who Joe Brady coached in college?
Joe Burrow.
This guy's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He will
Get
stand
rid of
up
Joe
for
Brady.
anybody
Get rid of Joe
who's
Brady.
sniffed Joe Burrow's butt in the last like 20.
You know, the sad thing is when the
I'm telling the truth. Did
So
you
obvious.
watch this game? Sam Darnold was horrible. What are you supposed to do?
No, I said he was terrible. He was awful.
Breech just piling on, passive aggressive Breech. But here's the thing: when the Bengals inevitably implode,
Greater.
he's going to be like sad Breech, and we have to be tiptoeing around. I'm not tiptoeing around him. I'm going to be dunking on you left and right.
The thing is, I'm just trying to talk, and you guys associate with the Bengals no matter what I say.
No, you threw you. You're like, look, Joe Burrow's a genius and he knows quarterback.
No, you said Joe Brady has been calling bad
Brady, sorry.
games, and that people want to get rid. Yeah, Brinson, we're keeping a chart of all your mistakes today. We're
I may,
at
I may have
17.
early onset dementia. I don't know what's happening. I can't get anything right. No, Joe Brady didn't call a great game. The Panthers' offensive line is terrible. Sam Darnold played awful.
Did you see the shot of Dave Tepper sitting by himself,
Oh, yeah.
forlorn and angry,
That was a man who's
thinking things?
he's like, they said I won't give him 3 firsts for Deshaun because of the off-field stuff. Don't worry, I will.
Yeah, Matt Rule's looking up at the scoreboard and sees that picture. He goes, "Oh God, I got to go talk to this guy after the game. It's gonna be a long conversation."
So around like the third quarter of the game, I believe this. I don't know if I read this before. I thought I had, but this started making the rounds on like local text threads. So people are Panthers fans and all these threads. I'm just saying, like it's like Panthers fans. It's from the Washington Post. After Tepper's hedge fund made $7.5 billion 8 years ago, after he correctly bet on a government bailout following the Great Recession, Tepper paid $43.5 million for the beachfront mansion of a former Goldman Sachs supervisor who had passed him over for a promotion. He then had the house demolished.
Oh,
He bought a house for $45 million and tore it down.
that is hardcore.
Totally rational behavior.
That's what rich people do.
But
That's right.
I think, and I saw David Cantor, who's never on the pod, but the agent for a bunch of NFL players, was at the game, and his assertion, he was in Charlotte. His assertion was that the Panthers this offseason are gonna get in the quarterback mix again. And if you think about how David Tepper operates, it makes if this Panthers team goes 8 wins or less,
yeah, they're better than the Broncos.
you take Panthers defense is great, but he's going to move on from Sam Darnold this offseason, I think.
Yeah, you have to.
The Minnesota Vikings won the game. They're now 3-3. I think they're back in the playoff mix.
Yeah, they keep winning these games with the skin of the teeth, so there's sort of some luck involved. But Kirby Cousins is doing fine. He's making things happen. He's not making mistakes.
They basically win despite Mike Zimmer's best interest.
Well, and they're 3-3, and it's a team. They had that crazy game against the Lions that they should have won. It shouldn't even gotten to that point where the Lions got the touchdown 2-point conversion, and then Minnesota had to fight back. But you look at their Week 1 game against the Bengals. Dalvin Cook doesn't fumble in overtime. They win that game. Week 2 against the Cardinals, if Greg Joseph doesn't miss a very makeable field goal, they win that game. So you're talking about a 3-3 team that could easily be 5-1. Maybe the Vikings are actually sneaky good, because that's what it kind of feels like.
Breech, you have to do something about Greg Joseph. He's killing them. What are you doing?
I mean, I think I wrote it in Slack. If you're Mike Zimmer, you cut your kicker a little bit of slack for one missed game winner because he came back, bounced back, and hit one against the Lions. But after 2, I mean, Zimmer's going to feel a little bit better Monday morning because the Vikings ended up winning the game. But I also think I won't be surprised if they have a big kicker tryout on Tuesday.
I'll ask you this, because you're the only person on planet Earth that knows it's not in an NFL front office. Who is the guy on the street that you're signing?
I mean, that is a great question. You can have kickers on practice squads now, so I'm not even sure who's out there.
Even Breech doesn't know. But anybody's better than Greg Joseph is what we've concluded.
By the way, the Vikings were quietly coming into this week 8th in DVOA, had jumped up from 14th to 8th in DVOA on defense only, and will probably go up higher after this game. One would think, given Sam Darnold was 17 of 41. But 4 for 48 rushing, though.
But again, here's the thing. This isn't like the 2000 Ravens or 85 Bears or whatever. Like, the defenses aren't going to carry you in 2021.
Yeah, but like halfway through this game, people were talking about Mike Zimmer getting fired because he was going to lose to the Panthers on the road and be 2-4. And now, as Breech points out, they're 3-3. Could be
No, I know for them. I'm talking about the Panthers trying to ride Brian Burns and Jeremy Chin. That ain't going to work in 2020.
Oh, yeah. The Panthers are screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have a good defense.
Panthers are not good.
Yeah.
They will stay in games by virtue of their defense, but until like if Christian McCaffrey is the X factor here and he can help the offense get back to the first 3 weeks, or if it's just a scheduling thing, remains to be seen.
I mean, if the Vikings feel these two teams have the same record right now, obviously, but the Vikings feel like more of a playoff contender because you look at the NFC, there are 5 teams with 1 loss or less, and then you have just total chaos. And the Vikings and Panthers are both in that total chaos.
A buddy of mine texted me, it was like, Carson Strong, let's get him in the draft.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I love Carson Strong, but he has a knee injury going back to high school, and that's a concern.
Well, I mean, the Panthers are going to have Sam Darnold on the roster next year anyway.
But if your knee is a long-term thing, it doesn't matter.
Oh, for sure. Well, that's an off season.
I wish if he were 100% healthy, he'd be the first quarterback taken, but he's not. So
elsewhere in the NFC North, the Packers beat the Bears 24-14. Oh, and Aaron Rodgers. Wish we should have gotten Bleeperson on for this because Aaron Rodgers runs in for a touchdown to make it 24-14. The Bears had climbed back in within, I guess, 3 points, right?
Yeah, Aaron didn't play great in the first half. He sort of got warmed up as the game got on.
Who did?
Rodgers didn't play great.
Yeah. Bears defense is just good.
The defense is really good. But anyway, he runs to the end zone.
Look at this graphic. You can only see this on YouTube, baby. Hit that like button if you're on YouTube. Last 11 games at Soldier Field. Aaron Rodgers 10-1, 255 pass yards per game because he ended up blowing him out. He doesn't have to pass that much. 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 20 fantasy points per game. And after he runs in the touchdown at the end of the game, like to seal the win, not the cover, wasn't locked down. Some lady at the Bears game is giving him the double birds, and he starts yelling. He said after the game, he goes, I blacked out. He's like, I ran in, I did my discount double check, and then I don't remember what happened. I blacked out. He goes, I own you. My whole effing career. I own you. And I still own you. And it's picked up on the Fox cameras. It is glorious. And there's just nothing you can do as a Bears fan because he's 100% correct, Wilson.
Is it okay to taunt fans, an entire city, but you can't?
Oh, get out of here. Yes, absolutely. It's legal to taunt fans after the touchdown.
I loved it. My point is that you should be able to taunt players too.
Taunting's stupid, yeah.
Yeah. No, it was great. I love it. I didn't understand Aaron Rodgers' explanation after the game, how he blacked out momentarily. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes I had a concussion. It's like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but I love the fact that you just said what you said. You said it to the lady giving me the double bird, and what you said was exactly true. So it's a win. I mean, I think Justin Fields played a little better, but I think the big impediment is Matt Nagy and the lack of an offensive line, and the defense actually played really well. They did all they could do.
Did you see how long it took Fields to realize that Darnell Mooney was running completely alone in the end zone? That was weird.
Oh, and his interception was crazy interception. He threw a jump ball to nobody but Darnell Savage, who made a nice catch in the back of the end zone. No, here's the issue with the young quarterbacks, by and large, except for McCorkle, of course. They just hold the ball too long. Like they hold the ball, and they take huge hits for no reason, and you get hurt or whatever, and mistakes are made, turnovers happen. So that's the thing. He's getting better, but I don't think it helps that he's playing with Matt Nagy.
No, Bears situation is it's very reminiscent of Mitchell Trubisky in 2017, honestly.
Yeah, but I think, you're right, because at this point we didn't know that Trubisky was not going to work out.
Of course, looking back on it, maybe Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, the guy took Matt Nagy's offense to the playoffs multiple times. He looks like a god now.
I don't say god, but okay. I think Breech is the one who's smoking.
I'm just saying. Nobody else can run Nagy's offense.
Any concern about the Packers?
Maybe clip that one for later, Devo.
That's an Andy Dalton 9 wins type of situation there.
Mr. Trubisky looks like a god now. All right,
he just looks better than what everyone gave him credit for because no other quarterback has been able to successfully function in Matt Nagy's system to this point. And maybe Justin Fields, he's looked a little bit better each week, but still the best quarterback in the system has been Trubisky, and that's the guy Bears fans want to kick out the door.
Oh, God, it's a Dalton thing.
Don't
Fields
think at
just
all.
hasn't. Fields. I don't think that Fields is neat. Like I know I guess he has to be out there. I don't think he needs to be out there.
No, he does need to be out there.
All right, fine, get the reps if you want. He doesn't look comfortable at all.
He's running for his life. He's not comfortable. But I mean, Mac Jones number 1, Trevor Lawrence is probably number 2, Justin Fields.
Like in terms of
Just ranking them so far through 6 games or whatever. Justin Fields, and then
Max Jones won. I don't know.
what?
I think Trevor Lawrence won. He's overcoming the most.
No, I'm talking about production. I'm not talking about expectation.
Oh boy, this old tired bag of a narrative.
Whoa.
I'm not calling Wilson a tired bag. I'm saying the tired bag.
I know what you
Wilson's
meant,
a
but I mean-
tired bag. Only his wife is allowed to call him that.
Only who?
Said only his wife is allowed to call him a tired
Oh, I
bag.
knew how you meant it, but I mean, Mac Jones has been more productive.
Maybe.
Trevor Lawrence thrown 9 interceptions.
He's stuck with Urban Meyer.
He's a genius, according to Urban Meyer.
I'm a genius according to me. What does that
Fair
mean?
Fair point.
All right, let's take a break, a second break, because that's what we do now in these Sunday night shows. And when we come back, we have a winner of the hat, the
Ooh,
Brinson Sucks hat. And we will
The
announce.
chance to take someone else's power, you can't deny that would feel good.
It's not judicial.
This is personal.
Axelrod has to be wiped off the face of the earth.
You say we're partners? Then trust me.
Whatever he's going after, I'm gonna take it. I will bring him to heel.
I think I love this.
If I had my druthers, we would have had Lewis print billions of these hats, but we can't do it. Only print a couple. And Debo, to avoid any bias, plugged anyone who put their handle in as we instructed on the YouTube live stream. Only the VIPs get access to Brinson Sucks hat giveaways on Sunday night. And like seriously, if you're watching on YouTube or listening right now live, you are truly John Breech's best friend.
You are
And-
sick.
Best friend.
and he will have you in his wedding when he gets eventually remarried.
Just to be clear, Rachel will divorce him. Let's make sure.
Oh, obviously. Yeah. Of course. Obviously, nothing would happen to her.
He's not laughing.
Brinson's jokes, everything. Brinson is completely haywire right now.
Yes, I am. I mean, it's week 6. It's 1:45 in the
We're not
morning.
even 1/3 of the way through the season. My
I
God.
know. It's gonna really suck when week 17 ends. And we're like, we made it. We did it again, boys. And then you're like, no, psych. There's another week. Lucas Pawlowski is our winner of the Brinson Sucks hat. We have a.
Tyron Matthew.
That's the wrong button.
I'm just stopping by to say, fire Ryan Wilson.
Wrong button again. What are you going to do? Congrats to Lucas. You won a Brinson Sucks hat. I'm sure that I will. Oh, God, now I got to actually mail it to you, huh?
Are you gonna sign it?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if he wants me to sign
Sign
it.
the inside of the bill, not the top, not the front.
Yeah.
And I was
Yes,
going to say for those that didn't win, first of all, congrats to Lucas. But I do have a Brinson Sucks hat in my apartment. We will do another giveaway soon. So maybe you want to win that one because I will ship that 6 months earlier than Brinson actually.
Why don't you
shipped
ship?
his.
Also, I don't
you
want to
ship
win
yours
anything that
and
was in
I'll ship
Debo's
mine?
apartment.
No, we're doing the original.
That's fine.
It's coming from Brinson on the first one. The second one's coming from me.
Ooh, no, you know what we'll do for the second one is we'll do the I suck hat.
No, who wants to walk around wearing an I suck hat?
Hey, you really put it in your studio apartment or whatever. And like, Lucas, hook up. Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
Nice.
Lucas, figure out whatever you want. Like, you want me to draw.
Lucas,
like
don't give Brinson your home address. It will go
you're
down.
gonna have
fast.
to do that first of all.
You can
Get
mail
a
it
PO
to
box.
Okay. 2 things really quickly. One, this is why you subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch live. We'll figure out a way to do the next giveaway. We'll make it more Eastern time zone friendly. Because I mean, like I got buddies who are Braves fans who weren't even up to see the walk-off win. 2, Lucas, I assume that Debo, you'll handle any
I'll get you his info.
correct.
Yep.
But Lucas, if there's anything you want done to it, if you want if Wilson suggested signed, whatever it is. You want it wrapped in a beer, or you want a beer wrapped in it, whatever
If
you want.
Brinson to cut some of his hair off and tape it to the hat, he'll do that too. A Brinson hair plug.
I guess I would do that if that's what you wanted, but that would be weird.
Some people like that.
I can't imagine Breech. Surprise, Breech is the one who suggested that. However you want it done, let me know and we'll mail it.
What if Luke is just a burner account for Sean Wagner McGuff and he's just collecting Brinson Sucks hats?
That'd be extremely disappointing if I sent
He'd be studying for law school.
All right, so Breech, the Jets and Jaguars played in. I'm just kidding. It was the Dolphins and Jaguars. I said that like 3 times.
By God.
Jaguars 23, Dolphins 20. As we like to joke on my group text thread at home, it feels like the Jags players are finally buying in. Told Urban wins in London. You have to assume he went to a pub afterwards. Team headed home. Urban goes to a pub. Who knows? But the Jaguars ended their streak of 20 consecutive losses on Sunday, leaving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 76 to 77 as the 26 straight losses is really, really hard to do, especially in the modern NFL. Wilson, I'll ask you this, and then I'm going to disappear to go to the bathroom really quickly. I'm going to pee my pants. But are you more excited about Urban or more concerned about Tua?
I'm concerned about Tua. I'm concerned about Chris Greer, Brian Flores. It's funny because Breech, a year ago this time, we were all talking about how Brian Flores is a great coach, and then he benches Ryan Fitzpatrick for Tua Tagovailoa, and they missed the playoffs ultimately in a season in which they should have made the playoffs because of Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't think this changes anything in terms of Urban Meyer being terrible and probably not staying around too long. We know the LSU job just came open, so there's another opportunity for Urban Meyer to exit stage left if he so chooses. I would imagine his name might be in the mix. Joe Brady has also been one of the early sort of speculative guys to take that job. But there were a lot of mistakes in this game, a lot of drop passes, a lot of stupid penalties. But I thought Trevor Lawrence played his best game of the season, made some big throws. Your guy, Marvin Jones, played really well. Laviska Shenault had some drops early on and came back and made some plays. And I just don't know if Tua's going to get better. And I know that I've been hard on him from day one, but he hasn't done enough, number one, to stay on the field. He can't stay healthy, and that's not entirely his fault. And number two, when he's on the field, it ain't like he's a huge upgrade over Jacoby Brissett, who struggled in relief the last few weeks for Miami. It is a huge embarrassment to lose to the Jaguars, who are both teams 1-5. Is that right? Because
yes, both teams. You lose to a team that hasn't won in 399 days. I think that qualifies as an embarrassment.
Yeah. So I mean, here we are. Urban Meyer had to travel 3,000 miles or 5,000 miles to get the win, and her congratulations.
Undefeated in Europe. And I should mention, even though Brinson's coming back, our buddy Johnny survived this game presumably, but last week's game where he fell off a rail and had to go to the hospital and get taped up. So I'm glad you're okay there, John. Yeah. Our buddy Johnny, who won the charity auction to do a podcast with us and smashed his face last week in London and complained about all the bad teams they're sending. But you know what? If you are going to be sent bad teams, at least they got a barn burner of the game, because this game was bonkers. And real quick on Tua, Ryan, I mean, he threw what might be the worst interception of the entire NFL season.
Wait, worse than Patrick Mahomes?
It was worse.
Yeah, Mahomes was trying to do something crazy. Tua was literally trying to make just a normal throw. You know, like Mahomes' body was contorted, and it was just like, that's either going to be an interception or a touchdown when Mahomes threw it. With Tua, it was like he put his foot into it, perfect mechanics, and he just threw it to someone on the other team. Like, it was absolute. Did you see? I guess you didn't see it.
I can't remember. I've been.
It was in the third.
He has no arm strength.
It was in the third quarter. So that's it. And Ryan was just saying that they've got to be worried about Tua. I think you do have to be worried about Tua because he wasn't the answer last year. He's not the answer this year. You can't lose to Jacksonville. They lost to Jacksonville. The one thing I'll say, and you guys have been completely disagreeing with me on this all season. Ryan, you love to say that the Texans play hard for David Culley, which they didn't this week. But I felt like Jacksonville has done that for Urban Meyer, even though, Urban Meyer's out at clubs doing his thing And even though they were 0-5 to start the year, this team was, they were beating the Cardinals 19-10 at halftime. They were beating the Bengals 14-0. It was just this. So they were talented enough to play with these good teams that are just blowing these leads because that's what bad teams do. And so I feel like this team will win another 2, 3, maybe 4 games before the season's over.
Just to be clear, you're talking about the Jaguars that lost by 16 to the Texans, who you just ripped for not trying.
Games. Are they playing every game in Europe? I mean, let's slow down a little bit.
You know what it is, Wilson?
Jaguars.
No, yeah, with the Jaguars. But do you know why Breech is doing this?
What's he trying to reverse jinx?
Because they beat the Bengals, or they lost to the
by
Bengals
3 points. It's a try-hard Jaguars.
You know what, though?
Team.
And real
Not
quick,
enough
if anybody,
Bengals.
for everyone who didn't watch this game, you can go back and see the very end of it because the last 4 minutes were just, it was totally bonkers. Jacksonville had not hit a field goal this entire season.
How is that possible?
First team in NFL history to go through full 5 weeks of this first 5 weeks of the season and not make a single field goal. They finally try 3 in this game. The second one was a 54-yard field goal with 3:40 left. Matthew Wright, their kicker, hits it, and I have never been more sure that a kick was going to miss in my life. I mean, I'm talking it was 5 yards right.
Was this the power fade where it comes?
Oh, he's
power faded back in and snuck in the right corner and made, like, if he had tried this kick from 50 yards instead of 54, it misses wide right. That's how crazy this fade was. Like, usually,
wait, did the kick went from right to left, not left to right?
Yeah, but he's left-footed, right?
No, he's right-footed.
He's right-footed, so it'd be a draw, actually, not a fade.
Yeah, he hit a
it's
a
power draw. It was a draw. But it's not usually something you see from a right-footed kicker when the kick is coming toward the right upright. And so you don't hear a lot in football how if you moved closer, the kick would miss. But that was the case here. I mean, this thing just had a crazy draw on it. He made it. And as Trevor Lawrence said, the guy was an accountant like a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago. And then he hit a 53-yarder to win it. So
fun fact about Matthew Wright, played for the Steelers last year, I think, for a little bit when Boswell got hurt. And the concern with him, and you saw it, maybe it was the Heinz Field thing, is like after 45, 47 yards, you didn't think he had the leg to go out there. So they would go for it in 4th down and fail or whatever. But clearly he has a leg in Europe. And he seemed like a good dude. He was 4 for 4 last year for Pittsburgh or whenever we played with him. And those are 2 huge kicks. So congratulations to that.
All right. So the Jags have 1 win.
You're going to get 4 according to Breech.
Well, they do have the Jets and the Texans left on the schedule.
Oh, yeah.
And I bet they win both of those. So,
yeah, that's 3.
Where's number 4?
Yeah, what's number 4, Breech?
You steal one. You beat the Dolphins. There's teams you can upset.
I mean, also the Jaguars could get stolen from.
They can't beat. They can't beat.
Jets and the Texans.
They can't beat the Falcons.
Maybe the Falcons. Maybe.
So, yeah, there you go. There's 3. There's your 4th win.
I don't think 4-13 is crazy for this team.
Thank you.
You're Trevor Lawrence has looked
better.
He's looked like Trevor Lawrence, but he's been put in on this miserable team with a terrible situation. Anyway, I spent most of this game going to the bathroom. So, you guys good to move on?
I'll just ask this: are you at all concerned by winning 4 or 5 games that means Urban's coming back, or is Urban out no matter what?
At this point, I think Urban might just be back. I don't think he's leaving after 1
game. At this point, they've won 1 game. They're 1-5.
I didn't think if he got through the Chop House scandal, I don't think he's gone. I think he's gonna be back for a second year for sure.
I felt like he would have been gone if they lost this game. Like Shad,
maybe.
They kept showing Shad Khan up in the booth, and he just had this firm look on his face, like we're leaving that guy in London if we lose.
Do you feel that much better though for Urban Meyer's chances by winning?
But I mean, like this team was never going to be good.
All right, well, let me ask you guys this: who wins more games this season, the Dolphins or Jacksonville?
For Chris Greer's sake, it better be Miami.
I got some bad news for Chris Greer.
And that, I mean,
well, right. And who looks way worse if both these teams finish 4-13? That's a great coaching job for Urban Meyer and a disaster for Brian Flores.
It's not along great, but it's a disaster for Brian Flores. You guys touched on the 2022 draft compensation, right? Because the Dolphins are currently giving. Devo, you want to chime in on here?
We're getting the number 1 pick.
The Dolphins are currently giving the Eagles the number. Why did they give the Eagles their 1st round pick instead of the Niners?
It's crazy.
Stupid.
I texted friends today, like I'm getting myself ready for Kayvon Thibodeau with that
Now
Dolphins pick.
that's right.
Or five future first round picks when they're like, I don't know who you trade. I guess they're not a quarterback, but
No, that's right. Yeah, that's the pick you want, Debo. You don't take a quarterback there. Don't be.
No. Take
That's
the best player.
Yeah,
they're currently giving the Eagles the number 3 overall pick. That is, at least when the Texans did it, it was because they got Deshaun Watson. This is to get Jalen Waddle, who's a good player, but geez Louise. I mean, the Eagles then came back and got Devontae
had
Smith.
2 touchdowns. Does that make you feel better about it?
No, it's getting 6-yard. No. I mean, would you rather have Devontae Smith in a future first in the top 5 or Jalen Waddle?
Jamar Chase. I'm John Breech.
Jamar Chase, good blocker. Oh, we haven't got to that game. Colts 31, Texans 3.
So, Breech, you want to bring up my lock of the week?
So this is where we bring up the lock of the week. On last week's show, Ryan Wilson promised
this football could have been yours,
that the Houston Texans would cover a point spread of 9.5. What the Houston Texans did not do in this game was
they were close.
A point. Brian, it was 10-0 in the second quarter, and I don't think it was ever close.
It wasn't close.
31.
It was the biggest sweat-free Survivor pick in the history of Survivor.
Right. You could have taken a nap 5 minutes into this game and felt quite comfortable when you woke up.
Here, go ahead, Breech. Sorry.
It was a disaster. You know, we were all on board. I think we actually all picked Houston to cover the spread. So it's equally embarrassing, but no one wins the football because Ryan, who has hit 70% of his picks, this is part of the 30% that does not hit.
No,
Jonathan
right.
Taylor rushed 14 times for 145 yards. He did have an 83-yard rush, which helped that average, obviously, but 2 touchdowns there.
If you take the 83-yard rush out, he still averaged 4 yards per carry.
Yeah, I mean he smashed him. The Texans are a disaster. Carson Wentz, I thought has looked gooder the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
but he was 11-20 for 223 and 2 touchdowns and no picks. And the Wentz stands are like peacocking around. You beat the Texans, man. Like
he completed 11 passes and 2 of them went for 50 yards or more.
Well, this is win-win for Debo because he loves Carson Wentz and he does well, and the Eagles are getting the first round pick.
Yes. Now that the Colts are 2-4, again, we talk about this. I feel like I talk about this every week, but it's going to be very difficult to tightrope trying to win the division. And we assume that there'll be one game out if the Titans lose on Monday, and managing Carson Wentz's snaps.
They're better than the Titans. The Titans are not good. Maybe that changes with the Bills game, but the way the Titans have played the last couple of weeks, lost to the Jets, and last week, who did they play last week? Can't remember. It was a struggle, whatever it was. But anyway,
who remembers a week ago?
I know they got the Bills coming up, and I don't know. Breech feels like that.
Titans beat the Jaguars 37-19. It was a big struggle against Breech's Jaguars.
I don't know if Breech thinks this is a trap game for the Bills. I feel like it's going to be a steamrolling.
Have you seen these videos of Bills fans in Nashville?
Oh, they must be going crazy.
They're everywhere.
What's the weather like? Breech, is it nice out still? Must be.
It's a little chilly. It's gotten a little. I saw a girl tweet out that, hey, Buffalo Bills fan, a bartender in Nashville tweeted
48
out.
48 degrees. What are you talking about? A little bit chilly. That's cold.
A bartender in Nashville tweeted out, hey, Bills fans, thanks for paying my rent for the next 6 months with all your tips. So that is apparently the Bills fans are out enjoying themselves on Broadway, drinking and tipping merrily.
It will get as high as 73 tomorrow. By kickoff, it'll be mid 60s.
By the way,
that's warm.
60s.
The Bills and their fans,
cold.
Bills and their fans fit Nashville, the city, not the Titans. The Titans are so boring. I say it all the time, but I feel like the Bills and their fan base, that's Nashville.
So should the Bills move to Tennessee and the Titans move to Buffalo?
No, but if all the Bills moved to Nashville, they wouldn't be Bills fans. They're Bills fans because they live in this little weird tiny area and just love the Bills.
Wait, why do we start talking about the Bills?
Did you see that video? Did you see the video of the guy on I think it's a Southwest flight? You seen that?
What did he do?
The Bills fans?
He walks onto the plane and this plane is jammed to the gills with Bills fans. And he's going up and down the aisle. And dude, Bills fan, there's one guy who's on a business trip who's just in hell. He's trying to get to Nashville. Anyway, this game's on Monday night. Who cares? What are we doing?
Well, we're talking about the Colts being better than the Titans, is what I said. That's what I brought up.
Maybe.
And that's why you have to continue to roll with Carson.
Colts can win the division for sure.
I mean, they play the Titans in 2 weeks, and if you get swept, you're effectively another game behind because you lose all the tiebreakers. So that's a big one.
That's
All right.
a huge game.
Let's go. What's next?
Texans are terrible.
True.
Speaking of terrible, Lions, yada yada yada. They lost. All right, next game. So Rams and Bengals won 34-11. I'll tell you what, we need to wrap this thing up in like 15 minutes or ish. So Breech, do 90 seconds to 120 seconds on whatever you want to talk about. I would only point out, if I had to say one thing about this game, Jamar Chase is a better blocker than Penei Sewell.
That was
Disrespectful.
That was the best part of the game. This was such a domination. I don't even need to gloat, Brinson. 34-11. They shamed the Lions so badly that Dan Campbell was questioning Jared Goff's existence after the game. His very existence. He was saying, I don't even know what we're doing with Jared Goff. That man needs to play better because you don't.
Did he really say that?
You gotta hear this quote. It's pretty bad.
I mean, you don't.
He's like, he needs to step up, make some throws, make some stuff happen, be, a leader, and just, make some stuff happen. It was.
I see that Breech is taking control of the Pick Six podcast YouTube questions. Type Zach in the chat for the coach of the year.
By the way, I looked the other day. I actually did bet on that. I'm so annoyed.
You got to feel a little bit better. Though. They're 4-2. If they beat the Ravens next week,
I need the Chargers. I know. I'm a Bengals fan now.
So if the next win will be the most wins in a season for Zach Taylor, is that right?
Yes.
No, it'll match his career wins.
No, he had 4 last year.
And 2 the year before. So that would be 6.
Right. So they're 4-2.
Oh, sorry. He needs 2 more to match his career total.
Brinson's on fire.
Is that better for you? That he needs 2 more wins to match his career total?
Think the takeaway is that you don't know what 4 + 1 is.
Yes, that was the takeaway.
I thought
your math skills.
Breech has brainwashed me into believing the Bengals are 5-1. Honestly,
Breech is right. They beat the doo-doo out of the Lions, and the Lions are terrible. And I think this is eating up Dan Campbell clearly to the point that he's like, I'm tired of being nice, quote unquote. Jared Goff, you're the first one up, and you're gonna take it in the post game press conference. Which I didn't hear those quotes.
The only thing I will say,
and by the way, do you know what the Lions' next game is?
Probably a game they're gonna lose.
Yeah.
No, it is. It is a game they're going to lose, but it's also a bit of a one you would have marked.
Oh, Stafford
at the Rams.
Oh man.
Oh no. They are going to get their doors blown off.
Okay. I know. Just quickly, the wins over Wilson line is 13.5.
For what?
The next week Lions.
Rams minus 13.5. Lions.
Not plus 13.
Breech, you talking about Ravens Bengals.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about the over under for the Bengals win total.
13.5. What are you taking?
I'm taking the Rams to cover.
I think so.
Yeah, there's no way I'm taking that. I think Goff and Campbell will have a invested interest in trying to keep it close, but I think McVay and Stafford have a more invested interest in making sure this game is not remotely close, and will Stafford threw his 4th touchdown when they were up like 31-3. He might throw 7 touchdowns in this game.
So Breech, how are you feeling about the Bengals as a potential division winner?
Here's what I will say about the Bengals, and this is the one thing I wanted to see in this game was if you're going to be a good team, you've got to win the games you're supposed to win, which is not something the Bengals are ever good at. And
this is exactly what NC State fans tell ourselves. By the way.
Well, and it felt like this had the potential to be a trap game because you had the Packers and then the Lions. And then you have the Ravens. So you have like this crappy team with no wins sandwiched between the Packers and the Ravens. And it just felt like a classic trap game that the Bengals were going to lose. And for them to come out and just dominate like this was absolutely surprising. I mean, I thought this was going to be a 7 to 10 point game. I did not think it was going to be the Bengals winning by 23 points.
No, you thought it was going to be a 3.5 point game because you and Brinson both took the Lions to cover.
Yeah, I took the Lions to cover because Brinson picked the Lions to win. He got ripped on Twitter. I never ever would have gone that far because all the Bengals games were close.
Yeah, you're a Bengals fan too, guy.
4 of their 5 games before going into week 6 had been decided by exactly 3 points. There was no reason to think they were just going to blow a team out, especially like I was saying, because I felt like it was a trap game. So for them to beat a bad team and beat up, I feel like they're going to finish above 500. Like I went from maybe after watching them against the Packers to definitely.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So the Ravens money line on Sunday, 1:00 game, is minus 285. The Ravens to win the division, as Debo just popped up on YouTube, minus 260.
Ravens play Bengals next. Is that right?
Yeah, Ravens minus 6.
And it's at home. I'm assuming
in Baltimore.
Yeah. Hey.
Breech loves the Bengals. I mean, duh.
All right.
I don't know that I hate the Bengals at 10-1 to win the division. I mean, Cleveland's banged up.
No, 10-1. I like that.
10-1. I think the Bengals might be a.
I don't like the Ravens money line at minus 280. Though he said.
No, I'm just saying that it's basically because if the Ravens beat the Bengals,
they're 2 games up on everyone.
Your Bengals 10-1 bet is probably dead, right?
But if you 10-1 and the Bengals win and all of a sudden they're tied for first.
Oh, they're 2.5-1. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like if you like the Bengals and you think the Bengals will cover and maybe beat the Ravens, which is asking a lot, bet the Bengals on the division because the Browns are really banged up, and the Bengals they'd be tied with the Ravens with a tiebreaker over the Ravens, right?
If they beat them.
What's next?
My point was if you like them this week.
Listen to the podcast later in the week to find out on these picks show.
We got 1 game left. Relax.
We had winners and losers. Debo throws that in.
Rams. No one even asked for winners and losers. Rams 38, Giants 11.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I think Daniel Jones did not have an interception. He had a Hail Mary interception previously, and then he threw 3 interceptions and then had a fumble.
And yeah, it was and I mean, maybe the biggest red flag of all in this game, Daniel Jones is out there. It's 38-11. And he's taking snaps and throwing passes. He was carted off with a concussion last week. What are you doing, Joe Judge? You've got friend of the show, Mike Glennon, available in a game that doesn't matter. Get Daniel Jones out of there.
Anyone lobbying harder for?
I mean, at the very minimum,
I'm not lobbying for Daniel Jones' health and safety.
Daniel Jones threw an interception in the third quarter with like 2 minutes left in the third quarter, and the Giants were down 31-3. That's when you pull the trigger. Like, I understand you don't want to pull them at halftime. You want to think you have hope in winning in the second half, but no. After that, there was 0 chance the Giants were coming back. And those 4 turnovers that Daniel Jones had, Mr. Danny Disaster. The Rams turned that into 20.
It looks like Forky from
the Rams turned that into 21 points. So if you just had a quarterback who didn't turn the ball over, you're in this game. I mean,
I don't know if you can blame Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a strip sack on the fumble. At least one of the interceptions was ball went through the receiver's hands, if I recall correctly. I think the other interception, Sterling Shepard fell down.
4 turnovers is 4 turnovers.
All right, I got a game for you guys. You have $20 to bet on the odds that I'm going to give you. Most turnovers, giveaways in the NFL since 2019.
His rookie season.
Correct. You can bet $20 on any one of these options. Jameis Winston minus 300. Jared Goff plus 125. Daniel Jones plus 155. And Sam Darnold 3-1. What are you betting on?
I mean, I feel like it has to be Daniel Jones, but
it's not Jameis because he didn't play for a year.
Yeah, I'm going with DJ.
I'll go with.
You're not going to fool me.
I'll go with Goff.
Oh, it's Goff. Good pick. But DJ is 1 behind Goff.
I would have taken DJ if I had picked first.
Dang it.
Jameis is actually 6 giveaways behind Daniel Jones, but
that's bad.
He didn't play for a year, so
and he got a bye this week.
The Giants are terrible, and Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman probably need to be fired.
The Cowboys are going to clinch that division next week.
Oh yeah,
and the thing is, Daniel Jones actually isn't the problem. Like we were coming into the season going, Daniel Jones is terrible. He's not the problem, but there's going to be a shortage of coaches too. So the shortage of coaches, shortage of quarterbacks. I don't know who the GMs in waiting are, but the Giants they're not great.
The Cowboys have a 3-game lead. The Cowboys have a 3-game lead in the division after 6 weeks. Like
it's over.
Insanity.
If Dak is healthy, it's over. And Dak is banged up, by the way. We should mention that.
He limped off the field apparently. By the way,
calf injury.
I would take them at this point if Dak just set out to get healthy. Let Kellen Moore play. I would be fine. They would still win the division. Not even going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants are bad, and everyone should be fired. And honestly, this is what I mean. Like, you don't want to call for anybody fired, but this is what you get for hiring Dave Gettleman, watching him do a bad job, doubling down on him, and then letting him triple down on himself with repeated draft miscues and inability to evaluate talent. So I don't know, man. The Giants
Andrew Thomas didn't play in the game.
Yeah,
Pert came in. He struggled. Kadarius Toney got hurt. I mean,
yeah,
injuries aren't an excuse, but that's where they're at.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney looked awesome last week until he punched somebody in the helmet.
That'll be a setback.
Yeah, Sterling Shepard was actually pretty good in this game. Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
Good. They're good.
Cardinals or Rams? Who you got?
I think the Cardinals right now, man.
Quagmire, giggity thing.
That's a pretty good quagmire. I'm taking the Cardinals.
I'm taking the Rams.
I'll take the Rams.
Did the Cardinals play the Rams already?
Yes, and the Cardinals won handily.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But it was after the Buccaneers game with the Rams.
Oh,
trap game.
Please
Classic
don't
trap.
Please don't talk mean about my Rams.
okay, fair enough.
Okay, winners and losers. Wilson or Breech, you want to start?
I'll start because no one's going to pick this winner.
Uh-oh.
I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
What?
Oh, Breech
I'm not going
is
to change my
too
mind.
much.
I'm going first.
No, they won.
What a troll job of Breech that was.
That's a huge. You weren't going with the Jaguars.
Yes, I was.
A kicker, a walk-off kick?
That is true. But I mean, they had to travel.
Creepster like Urban Meyer? Are you kidding me? This is Breech's wheelhouse.
He had to travel across the ocean to get the win against a terrible Dolphins team. Turns out Trevor Lawrence played better. I don't know what this means for Urban Meyer, but I think it's a big win for a team that won one football game last year and had gone how many games did they lose in a row? 30 or something? 20. So good job, Jaguars. Get to 4 wins, and Breech will then be impressed.
Brinson, you can go.
Oh, I can go? My winner. Do I want to troll Breech? Let's go Bengals. Let's take the Bengals. My winner's the Lamar Jackson and the I was calling them the Las Vegas Ravens. What is the matter with me tonight?
Falling apart, man.
I know. Maybe I am. Just a general emotional and psychological
Earplugs are poking you in the brain.
Decline. It's like Tobias in season 3 of Arrested Development when he gets his hair plugs. He's in a wheelchair. And if he takes,
I don't remember getting earplugs.
Oh yeah. If he takes the hair plugs out, he survives.
Lesson to be learned there.
Yeah. Ravens 34, Chargers 6. I really don't think that we're giving enough credence to how dominant this game was, because the Chargers are good and they have a ton of skill guys on offense and they have a ton of talent on defense and they beat the Chiefs. And I think they thought, and a lot of us thought, they might go into Baltimore and flex on the Ravens and let them know that now that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are sort of struggling, it's time to flip the AFC over. And the Ravens popped him in the mouth and didn't look back. And this game was never close. Lamar Jackson was 19-27 for $167, a touchdown and 2 picks. And there's a bad picture of both quarterbacks in this game, but they just ran roughshod over the Chargers. And I think it was a meaningful victory for the Ravens in the sense that, you know, the Bills look awesome, but if you're Baltimore, you have to feel like, you know, there's an opening. There's a window here with Kansas City struggling and you punking down the Chargers. So big win for the Ravens there.
My winner is the Arizona Cardinals. They had to travel across the country. The odds makers showed them mad disrespect. They were an underdog to the Cleveland Browns, who had half their team injured. And the Cardinals didn't even have their head coach because he was out with COVID. And what do? They slapped the Browns in the face and they laughed at everyone in Cleveland and won by 23 points. And they are now 6-0 for just the 3rd time in franchise history. First time since 1974 when they were located in St. Louis. And the time before that was in 1922 when they were located in Chicago. The Cardinals are my winners. Everyone's winners. And they're also the state bird of Ohio. Fun fact.
Hey, how about the fact that former St. Louis NFL franchises are 11-1 this year?
That
is there another one besides the Rams and the Cardinals.
That's a super fun
Were the
fact.
Browns in St. Louis?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Baseball team was.
yeah, that doesn't count then. All right, Wilson, give me a loser. Loser.
This is going to be it every week until he gets benched. Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh my God.
What? He won.
He didn't win. Actually, I said this on HQ. You know how like a Pyrrhic victory is like so. If the Seahawks had won and Russell Wilson got hurt, well, that sucks. You want a Pyrrhic victory is the Steelers win and Big Ben's still healthy. Like you can't put him on the bench. I'm not saying kill him. I'm just saying
the world's first winners and losers dunk.
I'm saying I'm at the point where I want Mason Rudolph, and that means that the incumbent quarterback is not doing great. So I think you make up an injury, you do like the old stash him on the IR type situation, whether he's healthy or not, and because this team is offensively they're figuratively and literally going backwards with the quarterback situation as it is.
Maybe the Steelers are the 2015 Broncos.
Ooh.
That is so disrespectful to Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning got benched for Brock Osweiler that year, so
That was disrespectful to Peyton Manning.
yeah, they literally benched Peyton Manning. They faked an injury and benched him for Brock Osweiler.
Quickly, an addendum to I forgot about this as well. The other loser is Eli Manning, who had his consecutive game streak broken by Geno Smith back in 2017 when he played. I forgot he played for the Giants. Who was the coach that did that? Was that McAdoo?
Tom Coughlin. Oh, it's McAdoo. Yeah, it's McAdoo.
Oh, God.
McAdoo's the worst.
So disrespectful.
You never hear from McAdoo anymore, though. Like, where did he go? I would say on the Eli thing too. Did you see the videos of the Giants?
He seemed quite happy walking out with the Super Bowl trophy.
Well, yeah, but like Tom Coughlin. There's like somebody snipped a clip of Tom Coughlin. And he goes, "Fire the players, fire the coaches." And so they're like, Tom Coughlin's advice for the 2021 New York Giants: fire everybody. Breech, you're a loser.
My loser is Bears fans.
Come on, Brinson.
Well, I mean, of course it's Bears fans. Not only did you have to watch your team lose to the Packers, but you are now owned by Aaron Rodgers, who I also think now owns Soldier Field, the city of Chicago, the rights to Chicago-style pizza, the Sears Tower. Everything in Chicago belongs to Aaron Rodgers, including all the people. So, sorry, Bears fans.
Finally, my loser, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Nice.
Sickening.
Just kidding. My loser is, I'll say David Tepper, Carolina Panthers owner, which is dangerous because he once burned down another billionaire's house just to watch him deal with it. I mean, what he could do to me, but he is so obsessed with finding this quarterback in Carolina that he was willing to go trade for Sam Darnold when Matthew Stafford fell through because he would prefer LA to Charlotte. Don't blame him. And Deshaun Watson had the off-field stuff happen with him and he wasn't tradable for. And so he goes and gets Darnold, and Darnold hasn't looked good, but they already guaranteed his 5th-year option next year. And it's just money. Who cares? Like $15 million. Like, whatever, Ryan. Don't shrug your shoulders. My point being is that they've whiffed twice now. And remember when we thought that Jimmy Haslam fired up to the max going to Cleveland would be, he's like, oh, he's from Pittsburgh. He learned from the Rooneys. He's been great. He's fired up to the max. And he just kept like firing people every 3 months. Well, I mean, if David Tepper ditches Sam Darnold after 1 year, are we giving him the benefit of the doubt? Or are we going to say, whoa, this guy's got his hands in the football stuff too much. And every time he doesn't like a quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, he boots him to the side. You're not going to land a franchise quarterback like that. You're going to put yourself in the spin cycle of mediocrity. So
I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
No, I like the spin cycle of mediocrity.
Oh, right. Who doesn't love it?
That's pretty good.
Trademark that.
Thank you. Oh, all right. And I'm out. All right. See you guys later. But the point being is that David Tepper, let's go to a little antenna up here and see what he does in the forthcoming months with this quarterback situation. Sam Bruce Smith, my losers. Everyone who Divas put up losers, winners and losers from the chat. Throw them up there if you got one. Yeah. Lucas, who did win the hat, loser. NFL for being forced to consider Mike McCarthy as coach of the year, even though they know it's all Kellen Moore.
True that.
Who would you want for coach of the year right now? This is sort of overtime. All right, anyway, hold on. So anyway, thanks for watching the show. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you later. All right, let's do some overtime very quickly. So the audio podcast is ended, is what I'm saying, Wilson and Breech.
I got it. Yeah.
You can,
So we can
loosen
cuss
your
now?
tie.
Is that what you're saying?
Loosen
This is
your tie.
unfiltered?
This is overtime.
That's filtered.
Yeah, Rodgers is a big winner this year. That's
Discount double check. You guys see the
when
left
you
hand?
yelled, "I
Discount
own
double
you."
check.
I still own you. I've owned you my whole effing life to an entire fan base. And they had to hear it.
That's hilarious.
crippling.
Can't wait till Wilson yells at the Brinson.
Juan
Yeah,
Thornhill's a winner.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually true. They did play much better.
Yeah.
Watch Sorensen get embarrassed by the Bills.
Oh, it's 2:20 in the morning. Fun.
Yeah, we don't have to do too much overtime tonight.
I was just trying to give you a full closer, Devo. That way we could. Anybody have questions in the chat? You want to ask him right now? The more questions you ask, the longer Wilson has to stay in that.
I'm thinking, like, what is Debo doing?
It's not. This isn't me.
Turn off the chat button, Debo.
Trying to engage on, YouTube, man.
Engage tomorrow when I'm driving.
What if like a tiny person jumped out of that bag behind Wilson?
I would. You would see an old man have a heart attack. You would see an old man have a heart attack.
All right, we get out of here. We done?
Yeah, I think we've hit the 220 rule.
Yep. 2 and 2. Chuck Woolery.
Wilson's bedtime is 1:30, so we're way past that.
By the way, shout out to the Wolfpack.
Wolfpack. What'd they do?
Won again. We smashed Boston College.
Nevada? Yeah, Nevada did win last night.
F you. Did you see the end of the Heels game?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't even know who the quarterback for Miami is. Because
Like Tyler Van Slyke or something.
Yeah. Andy Van Slyke's son.
You get bad, like the ball's batted up and just intercepted by a defensive lineman.
I saw the end. Yeah, I was like,
What do you think about Kenny Pickett?
I like him. He's like last year he was okay. This year he's been really good.
He's 36, which is kind of I guess a red flag, but
36. What'd you say? Oh, just state play Pitt?
No. We played him last year. That's when Leary broke it. No, Leary broke his leg against I don't think so.
Yeah, I went to Clemson, Syracuse on Friday night. Uyunglele is not good.
He's terrible.
And I went to go see the cornerback. He was hurt. Justin Ross actually looked pretty good. And I'm going to see Kenny Pickett. I'll see him play Syracuse in a couple weeks. Actually,
he's going to I didn't realize Syracuse's defense is like top.
They're not bad. They're typically
40 in the country or something.
Yeah. They actually beat up on Malik Willis pretty good, which was surprising. But Malik Willis is not the guy, so but whatever.
But Wake dropped 40 on Q's, which was surprising.
That was on the road too, so I don't know. But I guess people were yelling about. I don't know, Debo. Did you see Danny Cannell's tweet about the top 10 or whatever, top 12 is college football? It's like Wake's in there and Alabama isn't.
Stop it.
Not surprising.
You guys do know we're still live, right?
That's why
you guys.
Yeah.
No, that's you could predict Danny's based on the past couple of years of evidence.
Yeah.
Oh, he hates the SEC though. He does this a lot.
Go read the top 12 or top 10 or whatever it is because it's pretty funny.
Here's DK's latest. Oh, come on.
Read it.
12 is top 8, Danny.
Can't remember. What is it?
Georgia 1. Oklahoma 2.
They played really well.
He's a bitch of quarterback, but sure.
He balled out, Caleb Williams. He's awesome.
Yeah, well, I would like to bet him for Heisman. Cincy 3, Michigan State 4, Oklahoma State 5. This is so trolly. Michigan 6, Wake 7, Ohio State 8.
No Alabama.
I mean, what are we doing?
It's all based on resume.
I'm trying to. First of all, Cincinnati should be Georgia's the best team in the country by far.
Yeah, and
that defense is stupid.
I don't know JT Daniel. When is he coming back with the offense? The quarterback.
What matter? Spencer Bennett or whatever, Spencer Highsmith Bennett the 7th he's good enough with that defense and that running game.
He's like you like him because he's like Jake Fromm. That's what he reminds you of.
Jesus,
your first overall pick.
Stetson Bennett.
Oh, Stetson Bennett. That's
what'd you call him?
Sorry, Spencer Bennett is my buddy, my brother-in-law's friend. Sorry. Again, I clearly don't know anything tonight.
No,
Cincy should be.
Yeah.
If Cincy runs the table and doesn't get in the playoffs, that's complete.
No, what happened last year? They were undefeated last year, weren't they? They played Georgia.
Were they?
It was close. They played Georgia in the bowl game.
Yeah, they blew a lead and they lost on a last-second field goal or something.
How did you not know that, Breach?
Know what?
That they were
He
they were 9-1 last year. They lost to
before the Georgia game.
Oh, you're right. They did. Oh, but the COVID year with 9 wins.
That's people make excuses or whatever.
Well, no, but I'm saying there was.
Brinson, you sound like a Power 5 athletic director.
I'm trying to remember who was in the playoff. Was it Notre Dame?
Notre Dame, Clemson,
Alabama,
Alabama.
Ohio State, probably.
Yeah, because Justin Fields, that's when he got hurt against Clemson. So they beat Clemson, and then
Georgia hit a 53-yard field goal with no time left to win the game.
We got to get Breech out of here. What's Miami's record?
0-2 in the ACC. And
No, not that Miami, the real Miami.
Well, NC State's playing at Miami this week, so
which real Miami?
Miami of Ohio?
Yeah.
They're trash.
3-4. Trash. They're 3-4. They beat Long Island University a few weeks ago.
Did you say they're not trash? They're 3-4.
And then he said they beat Long Island University.
Yeah.
God, what a
0-7.
Wait, Long Island is the worst team in college football,
and they won.
Beat 'em.
Yeah.
I bet on West Virginia minus 45 against Long Island, and they covered by 12 points. This Miami team is god awful.
All right, what are we doing? It's 2:25. I don't want to talk about Long Island University 2:25 on Monday morning.
You lost you lost 49-14 to Cincy,
who is number 3 in the country.
2 in the country, but sure.
Number 2.
3 in Danny Cannell's country.
Hey,
you lost 23-10 to Army. You lost to Eastern Michigan.
I don't know what that means.
And you're bragging about a Long Island University win that is in fact unclickable on the stats page because they don't have a page for Long Island.
You don't have
Yeah, school's trash. It's been trash. It's Big Ben left, you bum.
That's when Breech left, I think. Didn't they leave together?
Thank you, Wilson.
True. Interesting about that.
We have as many national titles as North Carolina State since then, Brinson.
Wow. Oh! It's 0 is the answer for both. What are you doing? I fall for that. All right, that's it. We're out of here. 2 hours.